really, at the end of the day, it's just the matter of a macro market. It's just what happens.
That's why it's really important to have a plan. Have a plan and understand what your goals are.
In fact, my camel out there is suffering right now with a broken back.
So I actually found Pepe when it was only a couple of hours old, and I'm like, oh, this is a funny meme.
Oh my god.
Yo! Who is this degen?
The old man is swing trading over years at a time. And it's like, that's where the real money is made.
The answer is impermanent loss. With single-sided staking, you don't have to worry about impermanent loss.
If you're aware, if you're disciplined, you can hone that into further financial growth.
Financial freedom, so we can actually live life and not have to be constantly living paycheck to paycheck. I mean, that's the ultimate goal, more or less, right?
Oh, I just hit a mosquito.
Good evening. Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and D-gentlemen of all ages. We are back with another episode of the D-Gen Roundtable, your Sunday flagship show. We have a lot to talk about tonight. We might be a little short-handed, but we were not short-handed on articles, topics, and information. We have CPI data. We have the Federal Reserve. We have Bitcoin and Ethereum technical analysis, because the markets are doing some interesting things right now, and it might be a last call, but as always, not financial advice. I am joined tonight by my fearless co-host and co-panelist at this point, and it is none other than Will Stevenson. What's going on, brother?
Bro, I just killed a mosquito, and I was like, as the intro was playing, I was like, fuck, I remember saying that I would host this one, but you have generated all the content for this show, and I was like, shit, who's going to host? I guess I'll just wait and see if he says something at first, but I'm doing great. I also forgot that I had unmuted myself right before I smacked that mosquito. So like for the folks at home, if you just heard that massive clap or whatever before the stream started, that's what that was. But I'm doing great, man. Hanging out up here in New Hampshire. This is my last full day up here. Tomorrow I'm going to be scooting on out of here, heading over to Connecticut, then New York, and then finally Indiana, where I will be doing my next job. So if anyone's over nearby the Fort Wayne area, that's going to be my next resting place for about a month or so whilst we take care of some stuff on a tower over there. So that's what's going on with me. But I hear that there's a whole bunch of super duper cool macroeconomic stuff that we're going to be getting into. And I think in the title for this show, in the title we've got, oh man, that's a lot of words. Join us for your latest and greatest crypto news. Just kidding. That's our little whatever the heck. But yeah, we've got a whole bunch of stuff about the FOMC, right?
Yes, sir.
The FOMC. We have, I'm going to click my notes so that way I don't say it wrong. Excuse me. We have the CPI from May. We've got some clips from Jerome Powell and some juicy news and some fun and salacious articles that are appearing over on the Decrypt side. Some stuff about some porn stars, some stuff about Andrew Tate and Iggy Azalea, and a whole bunch of other things. Well, the other one's about ETFs and things. So, we've got some fun and fancy stuff to talk about. So let's fucking hop right into it, bro. But before we do, what's new with you, bro? Nobody ever asks the host what's going on. Dude, we know what's going on with me. What's going on with you, my friend?
Not a whole lot. Things are moving. We have a lot of things going on behind the scenes here. I've been one of the folks on the team that's been trying to get like some of the nuts and bolts going on now that we are trying to, ever since we got monetized back in January, I think it was, people have been more than generous with us, and we could not thank you enough for all the donations, the super chats, everything. You guys are absolutely fantastic. But that raised a question that we've been trying to figure out, which is like, how do we legally take money and like filter this properly and have like a protected entity? So I've been working with Dace and Tracker to try to get and Brendan's been doing a lot of the legwork for the LLC, but we finally got the LLC registered. Now we just need to get the company tax number, the EIN, and then after that we just got to get a bank account, and we also got to get a bank account that is crypto friendly. And then also, fun fact, if you want to set up a business account with Coinbase, they're going to ask you for $1,000 up front to set that up, and you should respectfully tell them to come hard to starboard and go fuck themselves.
Mm-hmm. Yep. I am not fond of a lot of the things that Coinbase does. They're super duper user friendly when it comes to onboarding like brand new monies into this space. But anything other than that, man, it's like I think it's who was it that said that they're like a fucking public restroom? I think Brendan said it last, where it's like you get in there, you do your business, you get the fuck out. You don't want to sit around
A
and
good way of
linger.
doing
You
it.
don't want to be sitting around in that, disgusting ass area any longer than you need to. But yeah, shout out
That
to
is a very
Coinbase for
good way
being
of
a pain
putting
in
it.
the ass, but also being really cool for onboarding.
That's true. That's true. I mean, other than that, I'm just doing me. It's summertime, and playing a little bit of golf. I shot a Barry Bonds 45 over 9 the other day, or I think it was 46 actually. That means if I don't like the first shot, I'll just hit a second.
Okay,
But
I don't know anything about golf, but sounds fun.
It sounds impressive, but when you look at how I'm actually playing, it's not, because it's saying that I'm not super consistent, and I still have a massive slice off the tee shots with my driver. And then I am awful at leaving my club face open whenever I hit irons. So imagine like you always hit these beautifully perfect straight shots, but they're always about like 15 to 20 degrees to the right. It's like, bummer.
Okay. I'm getting when you started using the regular people words at the end of that whole like little monologue there, it was like, aha, this stuff I know. I know when you strike something off of the correct path, and that's no bueno. As far as the rest of the golf stuff goes, like slicing and striking and other things, man, I got no clue, bro. None of that stuff. I did have a friend who opened up a he bought like one of those like cool projector things where you set it up and it projects like all the different golf courses that could possibly happen in the world. And then it's got like a super duper fancy like laser discombobulator computer thing that whenever you strike the ball, it like calculates based on the way the ball flies off of your fucking stick thing, the club.
Yeah.
It calculates like, oh, where would it go in real life, and then it like shows you on the projector, and then you get
the course and driving range simulators, those things are super cool.
Yep.
Also,
he made some good money off that. Shout out to my good friend Trey down in Houston. So if you guys are in Houston, go check out some indoor golfing simulator thing. I'm sure he's down there.
Oh yeah, it's super cool. You can play any course you want. And then also, kind of similarly, if you get a chance and I used to work at a golf course. That was one of the best jobs I ever had. I was player services, and pretty much I just picked the range and the cart, and then whenever players turned in their carts, we just like cleaned it, refilled it, put tees and scorecards back in it, and then closed up the shop at the end of the night. That was a blast. Because there's a bunch of old dudes who were retired and just looking for something to do, and then a bunch of us young guns who were just enjoying kind of like shooting the shit with the guys, and then at the same time the pros that worked in the shop where they're like, hey, I have a few hours free, you guys just want to like go hit and have effectively a private lesson? It's like, yeah, we don't have any carts right now, let's do it.
That's cool as shit.
It was super cool. But one of the things that we got to do is every once in a while they'll have these like pro demo days where companies will come out and bring out a lot of cool toys and let people try stuff out. And Bridgestone, I really like these guys specifically because of this. They have a great team that does it, but they set up one of those simulators, but they don't do it to do a simulation. They set up like capture cams on the driving range, and they will actually do like shot and swing analysis. So what it does is they have a super high speed camera that catches your club head as it comes through the ball. And then based off like a few frames, what they can do is they can determine how fast you're swinging. When you hit the ball, how much is it spinning? And then also, are there any like swing corrections you need to make? And then what they do is they actually have a ball fit program off of that, because they have different balls that you can play with, and they're designed for people with different styles of play. So it's like if you don't swing very hard, so you have low club head speed and you also want low spin, they have a ball for you. And if you're kind of on the opposite side where you have a high club speed head, like you're just a big boy that hits hard, they have balls that are specifically designed for you. And they have ones that will either help you like drive farther or reduce the amount of air and keep everything tighter in a narrower pattern. So stuff like that is super cool. If you get a chance, I definitely recommend doing it. And it's usually free. So why the heck not?
There's a lot of math that goes into all that stuff, I imagine, right?
Absolutely.
Other than this golf world. Do you think that, okay, so here's a maybe not so great question, because again, I don't know anything. Do you think that you could hit a golf ball further with a driver or with a baseball bat?
I don't know. I want to say baseball bat, probably because there's more mass behind it. But at the same time, the golf club is longer, so you could probably do that.
Yeah, so there's more. I'm sure that there's an interesting ratio there. But yeah.
But
anyways, enough about.
This question has probably been answered. Yes.
Enough about golf. Let's talk about some of the shit that we came here to hang out and talk about. We're only 10 minutes in, ladies and germs. Do you want to roll right into the audience's most favorite part of the evening. Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, crypto degenerates, ducks and squirrels, you bet your ass it's time for motherfucking chat shoutouts. Let's see what the chat's got cooking up in these little comment sections. I see our very so one thing real quick before we hop into these is our very fantastic audience member Kenturian. He loves when I pronounce his name as Kenturian. That's his favorite thing ever. I remember him saying in one of the chats, like, when will Will pronounce my name right? I'm pronouncing your name correct, motherfucker. You should go learn some Latin. But I love you anyways, Mr. Centurion Kenturian 54X. But yes, he's our first one. Fucking he snags that first place spot almost always. I will say, shout out to you, Kenturian, for coming in here hard with the good evening Degens. Damn.
Yeah.
Okay, so
Homies-
Zenith, you're
homies
Mr.
dedicated.
Producer tonight. There we
Yep.
go. Hell yeah. Yo, how is it producing? Like, what's fun, what's easy, what's hard?
It's not bad. It's just managing a lot of knobs going on. It's like
Yeah.
I'm trying to watch the chat, star all the ones that I want, and then if I just want to pull anything up, I just click it, and then outside of that, managing the screen, whatever layout that we have. It's not
Okay.
too much. It's just quirks you got to learn, and then once you're done with that, you're pretty much good to go.
Do you want
So-
me to do the reading while you do the clicking and the thinking and everything? Would that help you, or would it be better for you to read it out while you're doing the clicking and thinking?
I will pull them up, and you can read them out. How's that sound?
Sounds excellent. All right, so big shout out again to Kenturian 54X, Mr. 54 Cent. Up next, we got Paul Sachs with Buenos noches, galletas hermosas, which I don't know what the fuck that means. I know that good evening something brothers. I don't know what galletas means. I would look it up, but that would require me to type and talk at the same time. And we're already short-staffed and peanut-brained here. So shout out to Paul Sachs, my good amigo. Up next, we've got the Ascending Man. Mr. Ascending Man is currently driving back to his home planet, is his home state right now. So he's not able to join because he's on the road and there's like super duper spotty internet and stuff. But he is currently going 70 down the freeway on his way to Niagara Falls. Niagara Falls is a super duper awesome place. I highly recommend everyone go visit it. You guys can see like the most disgusting foam pit ever in the world at the very bottom of Niagara Falls, where all that like churn comes from all that nasty ass water and everything. But it's still pretty fucking cool. It's a big ass waterfall, and I will say that it's fucking sweet, and I'm super glad he's going over. And I want to give him a special thank you and shout out for coming and visiting up here over in New Hampshire and hanging out. We had a great time. We did some shooting. We did some visiting. We went and saw Mr. Twinkie, as we're gonna pull up here next in a minute. But I want to just give Nate a real quick shout out. Thank you so much for coming over, bro, and hanging out. That was super awesome. Highly recommend everyone meet Nate McGettit when you guys have a chance. And then up next, we have Mr. Angry Twinkie. Nice to meet Will and Nate over the weekend. We hung out and we had some ice cream and we had some burgers, and it was a good fucking time. What is good, gang? Bro, life is good. Everything is good. All this news that we're getting from the government, I think is good. I suppose we'll catch up and we'll figure that out here in the near future. But yeah, that's what's up. Next up in the chat, we got Cassie Kelly. Hey guys, what's going on, Cassie? Nice to see you. Excellent. Very good, very good. Ooh, we've got a new person in the chat, Mr. Jack Simple. Good evening, Mr. Jack Simple. Good to see you. Good to see you. Oh man, up next behind that, we got Tam Tam. What's up, fan? Shout out to our #1 cheerleader here in the Pulse Chain and Hex community. What is up, fam? What is up to you, Tam Tam? And then finally, we got Mr. Moon Pilled Rational Optics. What is up, D-Gens? Bro, we're drinking some Mick Ultra. We're drinking some water. We're drinking some caffeine. We've got it all going on. So shout out to everybody in the chats. And good evening, beautiful cookies. Did I get that right? I don't know. You see that from Mr. Angry Twinkie? Good evening, beautiful
Yeah, I saw
cookies.
that one. I don't know what that one was about, but
I don't know what that's about, but hey, good evening to you, mate.
I thought that was an
Beautiful
inside
cookie
joke between
friend.
you guys.
It could be. I don't know, man. It's all RAM up here. There's no hard drive, so I forget everything. Apologies if I forgot something, Mr. Angry Twinkie, but this I guess Mr. Zenith and I are cookies. Bro, if you were a type of cookie, what cookie would you be? I have a feeling you'd be a macadamia. You'd be a macadamia cookie, Mr. Zenith.
I can see that.
As for me,
Snickerdoodle is
though,
my favorite.
Ooh, damn, that's a good close second. I think that I would be oh, maybe he meant
Macadamia
beautiful
butt.
chicken. Macadamia.
Thanks,
butt.
Agent J.
I think that if I was a cookie, I would probably be Shit. I'd I'd be one of those like those those chocolatey oatmeal cookies that you get from like the Girl Scout things. What are they? It's not chocolate. It's coconut.
The Thin Mints? Oh,
No,
the
no, no.
Samoas.
Samoas. That's the one. That's what I would be. I'd be a Samoan cookie. Not because I'm Samoan, because I'm a quarter black, but because I just fucking love coconut and I love chocolate. And those are some delicious cookies.
By the
Jack
way, we do
Simple.
have an update from Jack.
Nice. Hell yeah, dude. Jack Simple's been ninja watching. Fuck yeah, bro. Big shout out to you. Met up at the CMC meetup. Dude, that was a long time. That was almost a year ago, bro. It's been almost a year, Mr. Zenith, since you and I and Jack and Charlie and Miguel and Twinkie and Boogie and man, there was
Sloth
a
was
ton
there
of
too.
fucking Sloth was there. I think Almighty was there. Although no, never mind. That was
Almighty was there.
Almighty was there. Tons of people over at that meeting. That shit was awesome. There's a dude like he had brought his madre, so he was teaching her about crypto and stuff. So excellent. It was a great fucking time, dude. I spent a lot of time drunk.
Tell you what, let's stop bearing the lead and we're going to get to the topic. But first, I do want to give one quick reminder. If you got, and by the way, Moonpill Rationalopsis is correct. Hex Monkey, how could we forget? Hex Monkey 369.
Hex Monkey.
Also, notorious Moonganger and just absolute legend. But this show tonight, I promise if we blast through everything, we'll do the classic manager move and return some of your own time back to you if we close out early. But at the same time, I will be going over a technical analysis section and we'll want to look at how things are moving inside of the markets. So if you have any tokens or coins or projects you want me to look at, I will pull it up. We can do a quick TA on it and then talk about maybe some fundamentals or any news going on with it. So looking for some input on this one. I'm planning on covering Bitcoin, Ethereum, and then quickly covering a few of the altcoins. And if we want to cover like the Richard Hart stuff, we absolutely can. But if you have any picks that you want to put in there, let me know. Put it in the chat. We will hold on to it and we will get after it. Other than that, I think it is about time to go listen to Uncle Powell.
Yes.
See what he's
Are we
up
starting
to.
off with the clip? Hell yeah.
Yep.
So for the folks at home who can't read, this is the highlights from the Fed Chair Powell's news conference.
Yep, this is mainly just the opening statement, but here we go.
We see today's report as progress and as building confidence, but we don't see ourselves as having the confidence that would warrant beginning to loosen policy at this time. And we have to deal with that uncertainty around data. The policy is restrictive and is having the effects that we would hope for. We think we're getting the things that we would want to get, broadly speaking. Rate cuts that might have taken place this year, take place next year. We'll just have to see what the incoming data flow brings and how that affects the outlook and the balance of risks. Really, the whole rate path matters, and I do continue to think that when we do start to loosen policy, that will show up in a significant loosening in financial market conditions.
I've got a request before you close out that tab, Zenith. Can you scroll down a little bit? Scroll down a little more. We're looking at the comments here. Scroll down a little more.
That's it.
Oh, that's all the comments? Dang it. I was hoping there would be one more. There should be one more. One very specific comment that I'm looking for. My very own comment. But it's not there, so fuck them. I told everyone to smash that like button for Jerome Powell. Well, I guess it's for Bloomberg News, but if you guys go and watch that clip, make sure you smash that like button. In fact, while we're at it, go ahead and smash that like button right now while you're watching our show. We've got a whole bunch of people watching and we need a whole bunch of likes. We don't really need them, but I want them because I'm selfish and I like it when you guys are here and I like it when you guys hit that like button. So go do it. So what is this, Mr. Zenith? What do we got pulled up right here?
So for anybody that has watched previous press statements or press coverage of the FOMC meetings, that probably sounds like deja vu, because what Jerome Powell just said is a lot of the stuff he's been saying for a while, which is that the numbers coming in are looking good, but we're not where we want to be. We anticipate that when we do actually cut rates in the future, that we'll actually see the economy start to pump a little bit more. As you loosen rates, you're going to loosen the cost of borrowing money, which means that businesses are going to be able to borrow money easier with less risk, so to speak. But the bottom line here is that they decided to continue to hold the rate at 5.25% to 5.5%. So what that means pretty much is that we're sticking where we are right now. I do have another one that I want to bring up though, which is that CNBC is asking, what does it mean that we're actually holding rates where we are right now. Again, staying at 5.5, but one of the things that they talked about is that, where'd it go? Oh, crap. One of the things that they were talking about is that they previously, back in March, were still trying to look at 3 potential rate cuts for this year. But that is not what we're looking at right now. Because if you go over to the FedWatch tool, what we're seeing is that even for the next meeting, we're still looking at no cut. September, this is the first time where you actually, this is a bit of a shift. This is the first time where you see 1 rate cut as the most probable outcome. And then the 7th of November, this is 2 days after the election, I believe. And again, even then, with most probable scenario, it was only 1 rate cut. And then I think December is the only one where you get to, yeah, this is where you start to get 2 rate cuts as the most probable outcome. This is actually new, a new prediction. Previously, we were even looking at 1 rate cut, maybe in November or December, but the data has started to change. You can see the historical data here down at the bottom. So today we're looking at 45% chance of 4 3/4%, but about a month ago, it was not even looking like that. About a week ago, it was actually looking at 1 rate cut was the most probable outcome for December. Mm-hmm. So yeah, we got a lot of stuff going on, but it's kind of more of the same in a sense. And you can see that when we look over at the CPI numbers, which is part of what is driving all this stuff going on. Yep. So we had inflation come in at 3.3%, which is 0.1% lower than the month before and 0.1% lower than the month before that. So that is these 3 data points you see here. So we have all items, aka core, all CPI, and then we have core CPI, which is everything excluding food and energy, which if you want to go look at the numbers, you can. Which kind of interesting is that the energy is one of the highest driving things in inflation. Energy is at 3.7%, and food was at 2.1%. So and even
what's interesting about that is that energy has gone up over like the last little this last little. Okay, hang on. I ran this through ChatGPT. I'm double checking right now. Yeah, energy went up. Energy went up by 3.7% over the year, driven by increase in electricity and gas prices.
Correct. So if you go look at the data down below, one of the big drivers about why inflation is decreasing month over month or year over year in this case is that used vehicles is down 9.3%. And then also commodities, less food, or new vehicles is down 0.8%. So this is more of speaking to the used car market, which has just been absolutely bonkers over the last few years. And that was largely due to the issue with new cars coming out and the shortage of that due to the chip shortage, but also a lack of demand. And then also very specific models of vehicles were getting marked up like crazy. So for example, the C8 Corvette, General Motors they made the announcement. They're like, look, we're going to sell you this Corvette for $60K base model. That is our goal. If you have been ever able to this is back in 2019, I'm pretty sure. If you've ever been able to purchase a C8 Corvette at MSRP, you are an exceptional few. Because other than that, it is pretty standard to see like 15, 20, 25K markups from dealers on those things new. And then when you have stuff like that, and when we had all the Android 19 stuff going on, where there was literally finished vehicles ready to go to a production lot to be sold, but they just didn't have the physical ECUs and the computers and all the other components that required microchips, because we had the great microchip shortage, and that is it's part of the reasons why everything just was so wild. So we're starting to see that come down, and that is honestly a lot of the reason as to why the inflation is going down, because 9.3% it's nothing to shake a stick at. And that is the biggest decrease in inflation going on. So how does this tie back into the Federal Reserve stuff? So if you've listened to this before, you'll probably know I'm about to tell you that the Federal Reserve not only watches interest rates and inflation, but they also watch unemployment. Unemployment has ticked up to about another 0.1%, which sounds not like a lot, but we've been ticking up from like 3.5% to about 4% almost over the last 6 to 9 months. And the magic number that the Fed has pointed out multiple times is that they want to keep unemployment below 4.2%. So we're edging up very near that limit and that threshold. So previously, Jerome Powell was saying that if we are going to cut rates, we're going to cut it because inflation is coming down and the economy can handle it, or the economy is about to start hurting too much because unemployment is too high. Therefore, that will also initiate a rate cut. Right now, we're looking at we're kind of getting a little bit of both, which is that inflation is starting to come down. And by the way, Jerome Powell uses the PCE price index instead of the year-over-year inflation stuff that we traditionally look at. The year-over-year, in my personal opinion, is a better grasp about everything going on, but at the same time, the PCE price index is the one that Jerome Powell looks at, and he cited it as 2.7% today, or excuse me, in the press conference on Wednesday. So yeah, we're looking at, in my opinion, one rate cut this year. I know people are getting hyped up about the possibility of two, but one of the reporters in the press conference asked a really good question to Jerome Powell. I think is one of the first ones up, which is that he's like, you guys have readjusted your numbers, and then also your projections have been assuming like maximum possible growth from the economy, even though we're not consistently hitting those numbers. So it's like your estimations rely on us performing at 100%. And then at the same time, you guys have also been having to revise those numbers, and it has not been anywhere. It's been close, but it's not anywhere near where you thought we were going to be at this time. Because remember, we're still at like 3.3, 3.5%, however you look at, or 3.4%, however you look at this chart. Jerome Powell maintains that 2% is the target. Whether it's actually what's going to happen, we'll see. But if 2% is the target, then that means that we still have a long way to go, and that they kind of need to figure out a way to either make sure that we're not going to see diminishing gains when it comes to beating inflation, and that we got to find the ways to make sure that inflation is actually being tackled, and that we're not just going to lose the plot, and we're not just going to start cutting rates because the president tells you to do so and he wants to make the economy look good. If you actually care about the inflation, we got to stick to the plot, and there's many things that can throw us off the game. The election is one of them. Unemployment rates is the other.
Fuck.
What do you think?
Fucking A, man. This is bro. So like, I don't know what to think about this stuff, to be completely honest, man. I don't know how all this stuff like fits in with each other. I understand that like these are big implications that will change the way that a lot of things are done and how a lot of people, specifically when it comes to home mortgage rates. That's the biggest one, because a big part of the Federal Reserve's like money printing thing has to do with like the mortgage-backed securities, right? And so
Yeah.
a lot of the stuff with the inflation will basically trickle down and adjust what people are buying homes for and what all that means for us in the near future. And so with these inflation numbers decreasing, right? Or no, did they say that? Hang on. Let me check my notes again, because I had ChatGPT write up a summary on what the CPI report is. Shows the
Inflation is
economy
creeping down.
experienced
However, it's
moderate
not lower
inflation.
than anything we've seen before.
Yeah. Okay. Significant fluctuation in specific sectors like energy and housing, while food prices remain relatively stable. Okay. So people are still going to be buying food and stuff, and houses and energy are spiking. So who the fuck knows what's going on with that? And then also on the subject of energy, I remember that very recently the US's agreement with Saudi Arabia, that to trade in the petrodollar, that just went like basically out the window, didn't it? So now all oil can be sold for any sort of fucking currency from Saudi Arabia. I think it was a 50-year agreement where Saudi Arabia would only sell oil in dollars, and so now the petrodollar is out the window, and I'm not sure exactly what's happening as a result of that, but we might see a little bit of economic dwindling and prices of oil fluctuating as other currencies are used for the sale in oil now.
I'm unfamiliar with that, but I'll take your word for it and have to look into it later. If that's the case, then yeah, that could definitely, it could be a mix-up going on with whatever has been the status quo. I do have another one of my favorite charts to look at. Here's the S&P 500. Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, we had a huge gap up, and we are well above all-time highs. Previously, all-time highs were around here at 479. Since then, we've had this breakout move up into the up. And then looking at it on the weekly chart, You can see that we had the breakout move. We had the first higher low. Now we've had the second higher low, and now we're continuing to go on. So if you're part of box gang theory, aka what they teach over at the real world, I believe, is that we're kind of at the point of price discovery, and that we are at the blow off top phase, which is that this is going to keep going up. And then after that, we're probably going to get a bit of a consolidation move downwards. And then we're going to form the next box, or the next area between support and resistances that we trade between. But my favorite part of this chart is that, remember, Wednesday was the press release. And if you go to the 1 hour chart, you can see exactly when Jerome Powell starts talking.
What is this? Why is there a big gap between those two candles there?
So the reason for that gap is because the traditional markets are not 24/7 trading, and there's technically there's pre and post trading, but this only accounts for the actual business hours. So that means between Tuesday and Thursdays, overnight or before the markets open, whatever news came out, there was a pre-adjustment, and people already had their new targets and prices that they wanted to trade at, and people were doing like OTC deals or kind of like or trading on areas that allow them to do early trading. So that's why you see these gaps.
Okay. I've got a quick update on the petrodollar, and this is from Nasdaq.com. So I've not looked into anything crazy, but as of June 11th, the 50-year-old agreement between the U.S. and Saudi Arabia was just allowed to expire. So who knows? Maybe they'll be selling stuff into that. But that's just a quick little update on what I had spoken about earlier. So that trading that you had just pulled up a second ago, Zenith. That was, what was that again? That wasn't Nasdaq. That was something else.
S&P 500.
S&P 500. Okay. And then when he started talking, it fucking did a little tankety do.
Yeah, that's pretty common with. Well. Yeah, Jay is saying that inflation going down and unemployment going up are exactly what JP likes to see. He'd be happy with one, but he's getting both.
Gotcha.
Exactly.
Well, good stuff. I was reading some of the comments over on that YouTube, and it was a lot of basically like, this is more or less the same stuff that Jerome's been talking about the whole time. Like you had mentioned earlier, this has basically been like, this is my goal the whole time. So like he's actually making good on his like his aims and his goals and everything. So good for him for getting all that done and taking care of stuff.
Definitely. Yeah, this is the same. I mentioned at the start, this is the same story that we've been hearing for a hot minute now, because a lot of the data has been very similar. And it's pretty much the same. We had a spike up to 3.5% interest rate, or inflation, excuse me. And back in March, that was a month that we really didn't like that. And then we also had 3.7 for 2 months back in September and August of 2023. We had the lowest inflation we ever had. That was 3.0 back in June of 2023. But since then, we haven't really gotten back to that level. In fact, we were kind of drifting up for a bit, which is why we got the reduction in that outlook from looking at 3 rate cuts in 2024 to looking at maybe 2 and even 1 or possibly 0 now. Although now, like I showed on the FedWatch tool, people are getting a little more optimistic, and 2 rate cuts is actually possible. I'm not saying it's probable, but it's possible.
Now, for the folks at home who don't understand interest rates and inflation quite similar to me, they're inversely correlated, aren't they? When one goes up, the other goes down, or do they both kind of like go up at the same time, or one goes down while the other one goes down?
One of them is a reaction to the other.
Oh, okay.
So the inflation rate is an analysis of the economy at large. It is looking at real data about the prices that you pay for goods, services every day. The interest rate is the thing that the Federal Reserve controls as a result of it's one of the things that they use to kind of combat inflation. But the Federal Reserve has, as Jerome Powell is going to tell you every time, the dual mandate, which is for maximum employment, stable prices, and low inflation as well. So they always try to maximize those 3 things. Mm-hmm. But at the same time, in doing so, really they have 2 tools that they can use. They can either buy or sell securities in terms of like bonds and whatnot. That's their holding sheet you'll hear them talk about. And then the other one is the actual interest rates. So inflation is the thing that they're watching and trying to fight, but the interest rate is the thing that they can actually control. So the general theory is that when inflation is high, What that means is that there's too many dollars chasing the same amount of goods out there. And the multiple ways that you can try to fight inflation is you can either physically produce more things inside of your country or whatever stage you're trying to analyze, which is you're trying to increase output. So now there's more things to be bought with that increased amount of potential dollars as well. Or conversely, what you can do is you can tighten monetary policy, which is that you can think of it as money is more expensive to borrow, which is the cost of borrowing money now means you're going to be paying more in the future. So when the interest rates are high, it means that A, it's a good time to invest, and it's a rougher time to borrow. But inversely, if the interest rates are low, it means that you're not going to get great returns on any like bond interest you make, but at the same time, it's very easy to borrow money because you're not having to pay that much in the future for what you've borrowed today.
Okay. Got it. That makes sense. Fucking A, man.
All right.
I see we've got man, the chats are popping. So shout out to the folks in the chat wandering around and asking us all these fantastic questions.
Yeah, we can hit some chats real quick.
Yeah, let's hit some chats. So we've got first up, we got Mr. Kenturian 54X. I'd like to see your thoughts on Pulse. Agent J shared some price targets we may see with Bitcoin 63K, 60K. I think we're going near the all-time low, maybe around 39. I don't man. Jay can do his price targets all that he likes. Now we can do some analysis on Pulse Chain if that's something that Zenith is able to do.
We will cover that at some point, yeah.
Yep. So we'll cover Pulse. You won't hear me talking about any sort of price targets or anything like that. It does what it does, man. No matter what campfire stories we tell each other, the price is going to do what the price is going to do. More people will buy, more people will sell, and the price will go up, the price will go down. As far as like possible targets, you could see it go anywhere in between 69 and 420, and just anywhere in that range. That's basically the spectrum. And add some zeros in both before and after those numbers, and that's what you'll see with all the prices for everything. It always just fluctuates between 69 and 420.
54 said, if you want to elaborate on the 39 part, I would love to hear about that. Are you talking about Bitcoin going to 39,000? Or are you talking about Pulse Chain going to four zeros
Quad
and a
zeros
39?
and a 39. Yeah, that's what I think he's talking about, because I'm pretty sure that was the all-time low for Pulse Chain.
I thought it was lower than that for some reason, but we'll take a look at it later.
Yep. Up next, we got
P-Hex
Mr. Jack Simple.
Take it.
Mr. P-Hex is testing all-time lows. Man, I am tongue-twisted today. P-Hex is testing all-time lows. So for those of you guys who want to get some cheap P-Hex, hey, now's the time. Now's the time. Buy when it's low, sell when it's high. Easy peasy lemon squeezy. After that,
easier to do than it is.
Yep, we've got some discussion between the folks, and then Mr. Fast Abdul has joined. He wants us to tell him our secrets. Fast Abdul, we can't tell you our secrets because then they would not be secrets anymore. But glad to have you here, brother. Good to see you. Moonpilled Rational Optics then says, he who controls the past controls the present. He who controls the present controls the future. Heard that somewhere. LOL. I think that's probably pretty accurate. I would say that the people who tell the best stories to the most people that are the stickiest, that get them to listen, can get the most people to do things. So in that respect, I would say you're absolutely right, my friend. Absolutely right.
True.
And then up next, we got Crypto Chronic with What's Poppin' DGen Bros, to which he raises his glass. So we raise our glasses to you, good sir. I guess I'll take a drink since I raised it. But yep. And I believe, is that it for, and we got Hex Glenn. Hex Glenn has joined us. What's up, broski? Aloha to you, Hex Glenn. And then we get Kenturian talking about all-time lows and current. That might be prices or resistances with the quad 0 and the 3.9. And then all-time lows, quad 0.33. So hey, folks, you guys can get some brand spanking new Pulse Chain at rock bottom prices right here on the house. So pay attention and snag those bags and fill them up, or totally get out and sell everything. The choice is yours. Do with that information what you will. We don't give financial advice here, but I will tell you guys, if you do need money, you can always go and rob a bank, and they've got plenty of money there, and it's super duper convenient. They've just got safes loaded with the stuff. Don't worry about trackers. Don't worry about ink. Don't worry about going to break the law. Don't worry about me being held responsible for your actions because you're grown-ass men and women. That's the way that everything goes.
Okay, then.
So, and we're gonna get demonetized and banned. And if I'm not already tracked by the CIA, FBI, ATF, whoever, then I guess they'll come after me now for sure, because I'm
maybe we'll
saying
see.
to do silly things on YouTube. But yep.
Perhaps
You guys
we
heard
do
it
have
here
one
first.
final comment, and this was Faf Abdul's reaction to the analysis of the interest rates and the inflation stuff.
Everyone panic. No.
Exactly.
Douglas Adams told me not to panic. I have my towel right here with me. I chose this nice light green towel so that way I could appear brighter on stream for you guys because I love you so much. Don't panic. Bring a towel. And I forgot what else was in the Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy. Something about 42. Yeah, so 420, 42, it's all in there. And then we got Jemmy coming in with That's Crazy, Will. You're goddamn right, Jemmy. Don't go robbing banks. That's a terrible thing to do. What is this we got here? Oh, Solana.
That is something for later. This is where I want to start off. So, on to the TA portion. Bitcoin is hitting some interesting resistance, or going and hitting some interesting indicators. This is something that Jay has talked about largely when it comes to the bull run stuff, which is that the 111-day moving average, which is this magenta line here. Mm-hmm. During the bull run, we typically never drop below it for very long at all if we do. And then also, it's whenever we touch that line in the bull run, it usually is a good indicator that it's a decent price before we head back to the upside. So you notice that we actually went well below it here on Friday. It stayed below it, and we are just barely getting above it today. This green candle right here, this is the candle for starting 42 minutes ago.
Nice.
That is
the candle of friendship.
Exactly. So that's where we are on that one. Right now, we do have a new candidate for a 60-day cycle low at 44 days. We had our day 20 cycle high here on, what was that, Thursday, May 21st. We had a contender for another one here on the 7th of June, but we were seriously like less than $100 short of this cycle high over here. So the day 20 cycle high remains, as opposed to, which was this one, that was day 37. So right now, as it stands, a 44-day cycle, it's entirely possible. However, at the same time, these are pretty rare. Anything around 44 to 42 days, pretty much anything less than 45, is going to be about like 7% or less of all 60-day cycles. So we just had one here. Is it possible to have another one back to back? Yeah, absolutely, especially considering the market forces going on with us touching all-time highs and then also hitting the halvening here on, where was that, 420, boop, right here. This one, this green candle. And yeah, we've been chopping sideways. Jay also made a really good point when we were cutting it up earlier, which is that the reason the 111-day moving average is getting so high is because we've been chopping sideways for so long. So obviously 111 days is the moving average, and we've been at this price range for about 111 days. Imagine that.
Yep.
That is why we are where we are. I know Jay previously... What's up?
I was just going to say, what's the reason that it's a 111-day moving average? Like, did you just throw in random numbers like 113-day moving average? Or is there something significant about the 111?
There's nothing too significant. It's just a common thing that's been used in the past, and people have noticed that it's one of the better indicators of like that medium to long-term indication. So indicators that you'll commonly see is 9-day moving average for traditional markets, or if you want to go super short time frame, 20-day moving average is the one that I use for my short-term indicator. My medium term is 50-day, and then my medium to long is 111, and then I don't have it up right now, but my like super long term is 200-day moving average. Another one that Jay likes to talk about is the 20-week moving average. That is your 140-day moving average indicator. It's pretty much, you can kind of interchange that one with the 111-day one, but when you look at the calculation for the pi cycle top indicator, I believe that one uses the 111-day moving average. Someone in the chat correct me if I'm wrong on that, but I'm pretty sure that that is part of the pi cycle top indicator. That is one of the tools that people commonly use to try to track the Bitcoin 4-year cycle and see where you get, it's like the 365-day moving average times 2, and then also the 111-day moving average. They typically are separated, but when they cross over, that is the indication that a top in a market has occurred. That's why people use that one. It's been pretty good. It's not going to get you the top on the exact day, but it's usually going to get you within like a month.
Okay.
I know that sounds like a lot, especially in crypto space and crypto time, but you will, if you're in it for the long game and you are actually doing the 4-year cycle as opposed to just trying to catch it over like a few months swing trading, then yeah, that 1 month plus or minus is not a bad not a bad sell point.
Yeah.
Okay, so what are we talking about here? Let's go ahead and look at some of the targets that were previously thrown out as well. We had $60,000 for Bitcoin, which is this line about here. We do have some respect as a support line there. We had a bounce off of it back in early May. We had another one back in mid-April. And then we had another one for the cycle low after our all-time high back in late March. We did have one significant dip below, and if my memory serves me correct, these two red candles, I believe, were one of the macro events when Iran was shooting a buttload of missiles at Israel. And there was also still a lot of Hamas-Israel stuff going on. Yeah, that was 30th of April and the 1st of May. Someone can correct me if I'm wrong on that one, and then I will be more than happy to bring your comment up on screen. But yeah, the reason that I think this is an interesting point in the market right now is because, again, the 111-day moving average, is it kind of artificially high? Yeah, a little bit, just due to where we are right now in the market. But at the same time, this is an indicator that we've used for a long time, specifically surrounding bull market stuff. So we touched it here back in that area I was talking about. And again, that was another point where everyone was like, hey, this is a bit of this opportunity doesn't come around every day. Might be a decent chance to have an entry point. And then again, we're kind of doing the same thing. But we're also getting the indicators crossing. We had one cross here between the 20 and the 50. That's showing a reversal or a difference between your time frames. And then again, if we come in here, we had the 50-day drop below the 111-day moving average, and it has not come back up. The 20-day moving average is coming down, but it's still pretty high just due to when we almost got another cycle high back here. Again, you had a very good point, which is how do we determine what the indicators are? It's kind of what you feel, and what you determine is what you care about.
Man.
These are the things that I've determined that I care about and the things that I've learned from, so that's why I stick to them.
Yeah. Man, I don't know,
Does
man.
that make sense? Is this all just like voodoo magic or what?
It makes sense, and so it both makes sense and it's voodoo magic. I think that it is all knuckle bones at the end of the day, man. It's all just like past performance is not. So like, you're not the only one that's looking at these indicators. You know, there's other people that are looking at these indicators, and who knows how much money each one of those people are that are looking at these things, and who knows what's influencing whether they buy or whether they sell. If a whole lot of people are looking at Bollinger Bands, then the effectiveness of using Bollinger Bands is basically, now it's insignificant anymore because everyone's making their decision based on the other thing. And when everyone's trying to basically out-gamble each other from the buys and the sells, when everyone's all using the same stuff, it's like, oh, congratulations, now you're all undergoing the same actions and things. So, but we don't necessarily know what the decisions are and how firm, and how resolute people's diamond hands are, and how thin and wispy their paper hands are, and what their financial goals are. We don't know if somebody's like, oh, fuck it, like I've been in this game for 10 years and I'm looking at the charts right now for like the most optimal out, or I'm looking at the chart for the easiest out. You know, there's a whole bunch of stuff that goes into all this that I don't understand, and
no, you raise a very good point there, which is saying like, theoretically, if everyone is staring at the same thing, wouldn't we just be kind of like really like trying to like get that 0.1% edge on each other? And the answer is like, if that was the case, yes. However, it goes back to strategy and philosophy.
Yeah.
Well, it's not that people aren't using this stuff. It starts at even a higher level of that, which is the trading philosophy, which is how you trade and is going to determine what indicators you use and what things you look for. So the reason that I use this is that I try to personally do very long-term investment stuff, which is that I've been DCAing throughout the entirety since like 2022, which is that I've been trying to capture as much as the bottom as I possibly can. And then as I'm still earning money through the old W-2 job, we're just going to keep chipping away until we get to the point where it seems like it is no longer feasible, or the reward is not worth the risk of adding new capital. I think that there's that inflection point might come up later in this year, where it's like we're into the bull run and we're at the point where the gains you're going to make they're not going to eclipse the gains that you would make off the stuff that you bought like a year or two ago. Mm-hmm. So at that point, you are still risking capital, but you're getting rewarded less. So at that point, it almost would make sense to either try to find new areas that have not pumped And this is where you start getting into that like experimental portion of a portfolio, which is like maybe 20% or maybe even like 5%, whatever you want. But the core of what you're in my strategy is the core of what I'm looking at is over a long-term period. We will be selling at some point, but even then it's not going to be a singular point. It's going to be a range, because it's going to be a point where it's like, cool, money's no longer going in. Money is starting to go out slowly. And then when we do start hitting some of the indicators that I personally choose, like Pi Cycle Top, 3 years and 11 months. And then I'm also going to be trying to look for some traditional finance or the normie indicators, like such as Jim Cramer saying that Bitcoin is here to stay forever and it's going to $1 million. And even your Uber driver is telling you to buy Bitcoin. It's like, yeah, okay, now it's time to get out. So that's why you can have different strategies and ideas, and not everyone is looking at the same stuff and drawing the same results from the charts.
I will say, man, there have been some fucking indicators, and we're gonna probably cover this later on today when we're going over some of the extra articles if we get time to do that. But man, there have been some crazy fucking indicators in the zeitgeist of the that'd be fundamental analysis, right? When you look at what other people are doing, and you're looking at like the posts on social media and like the things that people are doing and the actions people are undertaking and things of that nature. It looks like we got Ethereum pulled up now, though.
Yes, sir. This is the one that I want to cover next, because I think this is actually having a slightly different move than Bitcoin. One of the things we keep harping on here is that Bitcoin leads the market. Everything else follows through liquidity bonding. However, at the same time, coins can outpump each other and have independent narratives. And I think we're starting to see some of that with Ethereum. Up until this point, this bull market in the last like 2 years, Bitcoin has been king and has been outperforming a lot of stuff, honestly. So if you go look at the Bitcoin versus Ethereum chart, where you measure Bitcoin gains in Ethereum gains, you'll notice that Ethereum has been drastically underperforming. Now, we're actually at the opposite point, where now that we got the big old green ETF candle here, or ETF anticipation candle, because I think this one right here, this red candle, that was the day we actually got the ETFs announced, but this was the Monday of that week where I think some people kind of got like the whispers from the SEC, like, it's probably getting approved. That's where we saw that massive pump. What I want to point out in particular is that we did drop below the 111-day moving average, the magenta line. It was very briefly. It was only for like 1 day. If I remember correctly, it literally was for like, I think that's a matter of like 4 hours right there.
Yep.
Yeah, so it wasn't long and it recovered quickly, as opposed to Bitcoin, which dropped below, and we're still almost barely just out of, like, even that candle that's showing today is about to go red if the price drops any further. So Bitcoin, it may have dropped a little further below that indicator and has not recovered nearly as much as Ethereum has. Ethereum dropped below, hit that bottom, has gone right back up. This is in line. Yeah, this is in line with what I'm seeing with the giant green candle about the ETF approval, which is that I think we have a notable shift in market forces, which is that Bitcoin originally was the one that was pumping so hard because we had all the hype around trying to get the first Bitcoin ETF approved. That happened. It was the most profitable ETF launch in history by a lot, and now they want to do it again. And now they're kind of looking at the next darling of the show, which is this one. Speaking of which, I do have an article I want to pull up.
Ooh, which one are you thinking?
It's actually a separate one I didn't put there.
Oh, okay.
So, yeah, so we have speculation that the Ethereum ETFs may begin trading by July 2nd. The Ethereum ETFs are not live. They've just been given a green light by the SEC, but even then, they still require additional approval on the S1 applications. So they pretty much got the green light, but they said we still need to see some more paperwork going on.
How long did it take between Bitcoin's approval and Bitcoin being traded? Do you recall? I cannot remember.
I thought it was near instantaneous, and I think part of that is due to what was going on with Grayscale, which is that Grayscale had been trying to convert their spot. We were trying to effectively convert their holdings into a spot ETF.
Yeah.
And it had been delayed for so long to the point that they were ready to go live at any minute. They just needed the approval of the SEC. And they fought tooth and nail with the SEC, actually going through court multiple times. And then ultimately the court's telling the SEC, hey, you guys are applying these rules arbitrarily and capriciously, aka with no regard to any sort of like reasoning or structure. It's just whatever you like at the moment. So because the court smacked them down, they kind of had to approve it. And then when they did that, they also just said, yeah, sure, everything else looks like this one. We'll just batch approve everything.
Yep. Now, Grayscale, they were like, people could have bought Grayscale for like super duper discount for quite a while, as I recall. And then they were also trading at a premium for quite a while as well. There was something about, I don't remember when in the cycle it was last, but I know for a fact that Grayscale was either a 20% discount, and then other times it was like a crazy fucking premium. Uh I can't remember what, but that ETF was doing some crazy price act, or it wasn't an ETF. It was a uh what was it
Like
called
a
before they?
Bitcoin trust, pretty much.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. But like people were able to buy the Grayscale BTC for a discount for a while. So
Yeah, it was
congratulations
like,
for the folks who got that.
yeah, hats off to you guys. In fact, if you remember correctly, that was one of the things that caused the initial dip when the ETFs got approved, because it jumped up to around like 45,000, I want to say. They got the approval news, it bumped up to 48, and then it dropped down to 38 for like a week or two. And then after that, it did the mega pump. And the reason for that was we saw a lot of the people who had been holding on to the Grayscale Bitcoin for so long decided to take profits on it at that moment. And you saw, if you looked at the inflows and outflow sheets, it was like all of the inflows was everyone else trying to catch up to Grayscale, and all of the outflows was people selling out of Grayscale.
Yep.
True.
Oh, man.
Alrighty. Final notes on Ethereum. Obviously, we did not hit all-time highs. All-time high is about 4,500. We had 4,100 back in March. And then since then, we got close when we almost hit $4,000 in late May. So now that we have the Ethereum's officially approved but not out yet, it's possible that we can get more demand going up that way, especially if we break through the 20-day moving average. In the short term, that means that we're going to get that more of that upside swing. Until we do, then I anticipate that the Ethereum price might continue to go downwards a little bit, especially if Bitcoin continues to either chop sideways or chop slightly down, which it has been doing lately. But over the last few, like 3 days, 3 days is the only upwards movement we've seen.
Yep.
Yeah, Bitcoin is different because it went to the courts. I think Bitcoin is different also because just the time frame of like how much runway it had before the approval. Ethereum has only had runway for like 5 months because it got approved in January. Everyone made all the money, and they're like, all right, what's the next ETF?
Yeah.
We have another article with kind of a similar theory, with Ethereum getting not rolled out officially, but now that it's been approved, everyone's already trying to look and be like, okay, what's next? But regardless, Ethereum is honestly the asset I think people hold more than Bitcoin these days. So
yeah,
decent buying price. It's possible that we could start running really hard. Remember, the Bitcoin halving was in April, and typically 6 months after the halving is when you really start seeing some good pump going on. And we're starting to get closer and closer to that date. And we're already 2 months after it now. So only 4 months to go before that official indicator hits. So with that being said, I want to look at some of the other coins in the market and see what's going on. So Solana, my personal opinion, this is the number 3 coin right now. Bitcoin's number 1, Ethereum's number 2. Solana is trying to solidify itself as number 3. And it's been largely solidified by the efforts of Silicon Valley and all the investors over there. So it's actually, I'm going to have to look at it. We had a high, not an all-time high, I believe, but a local high back in March when Bitcoin also did its thing. I want to say this top actually happened like a week or two after Bitcoin's top. But since then, we're about 30% down and starting to recover a bit. But again, if we look at the indicators, we are well below the 111-day moving average. The 50 is below the 111-day, and the 20-day is now dipped below that 111-day as well. Going over to Cardano, not quite as large as Solana, but also a decent contender. There's been chatter about this one being one of the coins to potentially get an ETF as well. This one is even more of a bearish story, which is that the 20 and the 50-day are well below the 111-day moving average, because we had that top here at about 81 cents, and we're sitting at about 41 cents. So literally a 50% downwards correction. This is what we expect to see with altcoins, which is that Ethereum and Bitcoin, they're not going to chop super hard either way, but the altcoins are going to go the same direction, but further, so to speak. Then as well, AVAX, similar story. 20 and 50-day moving averages are below the longer time frame one. And let's look at Matic. Matic, same story as well. Very similar structure. A lot of the altcoins are having similar things. One outlier I did want to point out is Tonecoin. Tonecoin has actually
yes.
been doing very well. And in my personal opinion, I think it's following the Elliott wave structure, and we're in the wave 5 of a sequence right now. So I would not be surprised if we break above the all-time high of $8.77. We're right now at $7.96, and we did have a dip down to about like $4.60. So there was a good correction on this one, but since then it's also just been doing its own thing kind of and having a good run. I've seen multiple articles asking about, is this sustainable? Is this what's going on? Because it's been on a 3-week run effectively starting in 23 of May and is up about 37%.
Hell yeah, man.
If Tonecoin can keep it up, I think it'll finish out the rest of its wave 5, make some gains before it has a corrective pattern. But I'm curious to see how that's going to work out, because if it's kind of doing its own thing right now, but at the same time, if Bitcoin and Ethereum start ripping, I think that momentum might overtake whatever Tonecoin has going on right now.
I will say I was fucking around with the Ton wallet on like the actual Telegram like bot, like you can download the wallet and things, and it would not let me buy it back when I was in Texas. So I wonder if that was like a Texas law thing, or if it's not available to US residents using the Telegram wallet thing. But I remember I was super duper bummed out, and I was like, man, fuck this coin. And then like, it's been doing great. That was back when it was like fucking $2. So it's like, well, oh well. Better luck next time, I suppose. Good shit for Ton. Good shit for Ton. What's this? We got Phantom pulled up now?
Yeah, I got 2 more to go through before we get to Pulse and PHEX.
Okay.
So right now, Phantom sitting at 64 cents. It had a low here of about 60 cents. And Phantom is in a bit of a special position because it's getting ready to do the Sonic network upgrade that we've covered previously, which is that they're actually getting ready to pretty much convert Phantom to a new kind of token. But at the same time, the Phantom network as it exists is going to get a small upgrade and still exist. But the main product that these people are going to be putting out is the Sonic network and the Sonic token, which they're physically changing the blockchain itself to operate a lot faster than the base upgrade that Phantom is going to get. And the base upgrade that Phantom is going to get is theoretically Ethereum capable. So Ethereum could receive the same upgrade that Phantom is going to get, but the people that are building Phantom, the real creme de la creme, the crown jewel, is going to be the Sonic upgrade, because that is going to be, I think they said that the EVM compatible upgrade is going to be 3 times faster, and the Sonic network is going to be 5 times faster.
Fuck yeah.
So,
shit. And Phantom's already fast as shit.
Yes, yes it is.
They got that going in their pocket. Good stuff.
For true. All right, last token I want to cover is Fetch AI. This one has a macro news event coming up, which should have actually happened yesterday, but I am yet to see confirmation that it's completed, which is that Fetch is turning into ASI. Fetch is combining with, there's 2 other coins. I want to say it's Ocean, and then like GET or something is the other one. But the point is that we are at the point where they're converting to the new conglomerate artificial superintelligence coin, ASI, which is the decentralized AI coin. Again, the indicators are showing that we have downwards momentum building. Don't really see any sort of stopping point along the way. Next support level is possibly at like 1.2, and we're at 1.47 right now. So $1.20 might be the next stopping point, although we did get a little bit of a reversal. And depending on what Bitcoin and Ethereum do, these are also Fetch is a Ethereum token effectively.
You want an interesting factoid about Fetch?
Thank you, Jay.
Nothing to do with these charts. The merge is delayed until late July. Okay, excellent. And that's regarding Phantom Sonic upgrade, right? What he was talking about? Or is that for this
that
Fetch
is AI? Regarding Fetch. Thank you, Jemmy. AGIX, Fetch, and Ocean. Those are the 3 tokens that are merging to make the ASI token.
Okay. Dude.
Yeah.
I went out I can't remember what day it was, but earlier this week I got some ink done. I got this this new tattoo on my arm, and freaking while I was there, I was like, "Yo, bro, do you accept payment in crypto?" And he was like, "Well, I mean, I could do Fetch." And I was like, "Oh, fucking A, dude, I've heard about that one." So, big shout out to Raphael over in Hartford, Connecticut for accepting crypto payments. Now, I didn't have Fetch or anything. I was like, "Oh, damn, dude, I got like Pulse Chain and Ethereum stuff, but I don't know anything about Fetch AI or whatever." But yeah, shout out to homeboy over there accepting cryptocurrency for Fetch. And also, one of the other tattoo artists was like, "Hey, man, do you know anything about XRP?" And I was like, "Oh, dude, I'm sorry. I don't know much about XRP payment solutions." He was like, "Man, all the banks got it. all like Japan's processing all their transactions in XRP, and I was like, I hope so, man. I hope it works out for you. I feel sorry for those XRP guys. They need a fucking break. It's been a long time for them.
Yeah, XRP is one of those coins that's just been around for a long time, and it's never been like the major player, but it's been like a player. I will fully admit I'm not super up to date in all the XRP lore and the history myself, but they've had some wins. They were one of the people that had one of the first big wins over the SEC, so it's absolutely a feather to have in their cap. But outside of that, my personal opinion is that it has not done enough and has not shown enough for me to take a lot of interest in it. So that's why I'm focused on other stuff just to, I guess, to put my personal bias out there. Do I own Fetch and Phantom? Yes, I do. It's not a huge part of my bags, but it is a significant portion. So just full clarity. I like these tokens, not telling you to buy them, but I'm saying I like them because I think the largest AI token doing decentralized AI stuff is cool. I think Phantom is an L1 that is actually superior technology. Yes, I'm in it for the tech guy when it comes to Phantom. I like the tech. I think the team is very passionate about what they do. They are a bunch of nerds who love being nerdy about it, and that is what I like.
XRP is confirmed to have a stable. Agent J is saying, excellent. Good to hear. XRPL. Oh, X Ripple. XRPL.
I guess that's the name of it. Yeah.
Excellent. Cool beans. Good stuff, Ripple. Or good stuff, XRP.
We have a special request from the chat. We wanted to look at Pulse. This was from Centurion54X. Let's take a look at the chart. I was talking with somebody earlier about the potential price target for Pulse, and I said that a third of a penny seems good. Anything after that is just gravy. It's just kiss.
All of the Pulse.
All of the Pulse. Yes. Okay. So we are sitting here at about the 4 zeros and 7. I'm just going to call it 47. And then when we get back up to sack price, I'll call it 100 just for reference. So we have our all-time low at about 33, and we're sitting at 47. We had a pretty good run in the beginning of the year here, and we had one big candle all the way up to 20.3 or 203, although the more reasonable top is here at about 177. So since then, not gonna lie, it's been a bit of a downhill slope. That is a 73% downwards correction. So is that great? No, but at the same time, I think
you get that
Pulse
on
Chain,
these big jobs.
Yeah, Pulse Chain is having some external factors, specifically the SEC, and then I don't know why, but it feels like there's a lot of internal drama. Although I would also argue it's only possible to have internal drama because we have a real community, and there's a lot of people inside of the community that have their own voices, opinions, and can make their own plays, and we have large players who are able to affect markets. But at the same time, a lot of the stuff is just because in aggregate, a lot of people are doing a lot of the same thing. Is it possible to move the price with one person coming in and dropping $1 million? Yeah, sure. But at the same time, if 1,000 people buy $1,000 worth, that's the same kind of a move.
Yep.
Yeah.
I don't know about the stories and why the prices are changing. I just know that there's more people buying or more people selling than there is buying. And that seems to be pretty common across the board, except for in like, super duper unique like cases. I think Ethereum was the one that was going up, and everything else is pretty much like kind of sort of pittering and floating. So nothing quite as bad as this, but with great downs comes great ups, and also great power comes great responsibility and other stuff, quotes and things. Would you mind removing Jay's comment from the screen, Mr. Producer Zenith Man? Excellent.
Yes, I can. Sir. So I will say this. I think we are seeing legitimate support form at like 47, and we're just about to hit it again. So depending on what we do here can determine whether or not we're going to verify that this is actually a support level, because we went a little bit below it and we had the initial SEC dip. We chopped around it a little bit following that.
Yeah.
But since then, when we were recovering off the all-time lows, we did hit resistance, and then I think we flipped it into a support here.
Yep.
Which is why I think that we're seeing it act as a support again. So depending on what kind of action we get, it's possible to go below, but in my personal opinion, I would not be surprised if we see a move to the upside, especially if Ethereum starts moving. Pulse chain obviously is a fork of Ethereum, so the things that work on Ethereum should theoretically work here. So if Ethereum has a good day or starts running pretty hard, I would not be surprised if we actually bounce off this and maybe head towards the upside a little bit. I'm not saying we go to the moon or anything, but I'm saying that we stop the bleeding and we start moving up.
I'm looking over on my little. I'm just speculating largely about all pulse chain assets. I'm looking over on my little watch list, and pretty much not all of the pulse chain assets, but very many of them. They're all like in the reds. Looking at like 0.6 or -6%, -1%, -2%, -2%, -1.7. Lots of things are down in the dumps on the pulse chain. So, shout out to Loan. Loan is up 1% in the past 24 hours. So good stuff for you, liquid loans. And other than that, a lot of the things that I'm looking at, they're all down in the dumps. But you'll see that when the main chain is down. What's this you got pulled up here? Is this your 60-day cycle?
Doing a little Elliott wave. I could see a reading like this as possible, and then if you want to be really bullish on pulse chain, it's possible that we could be in the start of a new 5-wave sequence, because it's possible that we had a full 5-wave sequence here previously, and we've finished out our corrective pattern and are beginning a new one. But at the same time, that's pretty speculative, because it's also entirely possible that we could do come on, work with me. No, deck screener, no. Oh, boo.
Yeah, you'll get that. Damn, little sad face. That's okay. Yo, pull up the bubbles. Let's see the bubbles. I want to look at the bubbles.
Crypto bubbles. Who doesn't love the bubbles?
I like the
pop
bubbles.
My bubble, bro. Sorry,
that'd be cool. Is there like a portfolio thing you can do with bubbles? That would be nifty. If you could put in like a couple wallet addresses and show you like these are your major movers inside your portfolio. That'd be nifty. I don't know if that's a thing that's possible. If anyone knows a tool that you can do that with, that would be super awesome. You just type in all the cryptocurrency that's in your particular wallet, and it shows you like these are your gainers, these are your losers. Oh my goodness, that's super fun.
So I have this on
what a fun
market
charting
cap.
metric.
It is. Market cap and week, again, something we talked about previously. Tonecoin is really the only one that's kind of escaping the Bitcoin Ethereum narrative. Outside of that, it looks like Uniswap is doing well. That's a stable coin. You can ignore that.
Yep.
I don't know how to pop the bubbles.
I don't know either.
What are you? Lido
DAO
is up 15% on the week. Shout out to those guys, whoever has that. And then look at that. What do we got? Filecoin.
Filecoin. I haven't heard of that bad boy in a minute. Yep.
Loki's down 26% on the week. Fetch down 15% on the week. Oh.
So now does the strength of the color mean something?
Yeah, so the more saturated the color, or like however bright it is, it's more of that direction. So obviously this Brett coin, I don't know what that is, but it's like very green.
Brett's
lot more
part
green.
Of the Pepe family.
Okay, there you go. Yeah, so that one's very green. Something like Rune or Gala, they're very red.
Not coin.
Here's your monthly thing.
The opposite of ton.
All right, so we have one more request on the TA before we finish up with. We have a bunch of tweets. We have a few more articles, and if we want to get to the real degenerate stuff, I found some true trash from the bathroom stall wall that is Twitter.
Excellent.
So Pulse. By the way, shout out to Benny showing up, saying good evening and happy Sunday. Good to see you, Benny Blanco from the Bronx.
Good to see you, amigo.
All right,
Cheers. So you're pulling up the pulse chart?
P-Hex. Or just Hex, rather. Again, shout out to, who was it that gave the P-Hex recommendation? 54 Cent was the Pulse recommendation, and then shout out to whoever was the P-Hex recommendation. Because they've identified something rather important, which is that we are theoretically about to make new all-time lows.
Shout out to Jack Simple with P-Hex's testing all-time lows. Yep, that was one of our star chats from earlier.
Thank you,
Good
Jack.
Stuff. You still have the crypto bubbles pulled up, just so you were aware, Zenith.
Oh shoot! Thank you
for the folks at home. There we go.
There you go.
The Hex chart.
Here's your Hex chart. We are right here, and this is our all-time low. again, keep in mind this is the P hex chart, not the entire history of all hex together.
Yep.
But yeah, we have a shout out to a new person who also has a great comment. Hello Wealth says hex is way undervalued. I would tend to agree. I really would. The thing to also consider is that due to these all being Richard Hart tokens, Pulse, PulseX, Incentive Token, and Hex are going to be largely tied together, in my opinion. And I think that we've seen this play out the entirety of their existence, which is that they always run together. However, there are opportunities for a single one to outperform or really drop at the same time. It's like, shoot, back in March, I think we had the great E-Hex, P-Hex debate that Richard tweeted out that P-Hex is the main Hex now. And that
he said that
that
that's
was
the
one
one
of those,
that the market had chosen. He said the market had
correct.
chosen that this one looks like the better price, which like isn't news to anything. But yeah, that was amusing. All the
Correct, but at the
fallout
same
from
time, that is one of those specific examples where you see one coin really outperform the other and see it kind of detached from the others. Again, we had a similar thing when we saw Incentive Token, which is that Incentive Token hit its low here at like 40 cents, and then it pumped all the way up to $10 pretty much. You don't see that size replicated anywhere else on the charts. Like, they have their moment in the sun, but at the same time, they do and they don't. So like this candle right here, this is that event that I was talking about, which is that we had a huge peak, and then ultimately since then we've dropped off pretty hard. And I don't even know if I can draw. I don't even see an Elliott 5-wave sequence on this one.
I wouldn't know what to look for, bro. It just looks like a chart for juicy buys for those who think that this is something worth valuable, whatever the heck in the future. I will say for those of you who are interested in T-shares, this is not a bad time to start stacking those T-shares. I mean, that's a screaming buy opportunity as far as I'm concerned. I do like one thing that I do, Zenith, is I make a Quattro Cinco stake every week as part of my DCA strategy. Is I'll buy a bunch of Hex and then I'll Quattro Cinco stake it. I figured, like, fuck it. This is if I'm doing scratcher money, one of my scratchers is in Hex and I just Quattro Cinco it and then it's gone forever. And then I get the bonus added feeling of like stacking T-shares every week. And just lately, man, as you see those red things go down and down and down, it's like, dude, I've been getting way more T-shares. This shit's great. So that's been super fun for me over these past several weeks. I wish I was working right now. Like I love being on vacation and everything, but like, fuck, I'm not bringing in any active money, so it's just like, oh man, all these juicy buy opportunities, they're passing me by, but that's okay because I'll get back into it soon.
I'm trying to find the data on share. I'll post in the Telegram chat. Be a good incentive for you guys to check out the Telegram chat. I'll post the T-share data for how much T-shares cost. The rate of T-shares. Remember, the rate of T-shares only goes up, but it doesn't mean the cost always goes up, because the cost is the T-share amount times the price. So times like this might be a good time to pick up some T-shares, but also at the same time, we're getting ready for a theoretical bull run coming up soon on Hex specifically. So it has the potential to pump really hard. So if you have it staked, Quattro Cinco, good on you. But at the same time, if you have no liquid Hex, you're not going to be able to capitalize any gains in the short term. But at the same time, Hex is here to try to emphasize delayed gratification and long-term gains. But at the same time, if you go exclusively for that, understand what you signed up for.
So for the folks at home who are not a part of the DGen Roundtable Telegram crew, I have gone ahead and dropped that link. Where do I point? This is the way I point. I've dropped the link in the live chat right now. So the live chat to join the DGen Roundtable community Telegram is t.me/DRT join now. So again, that's t.me/DRT join now. You just type that into your URL and it'll bring you right on over to our new invite code. Our old invite code no longer works. We have a new QR code that we're going to be putting on the bottom of our screen, and then also a new bit.ly link, which it's the same. It's essentially the same thing. It just no longer has the underscore. So for those of you guys who like typing in links, bit.ly/degenerate roundtable, no underscore in there. It's just straight up words this time. And then also that link that I've dropped in the chat, t.me/DRT join now. And then we'll be updating our YouTube description here in the near future once Mrs. Producer makes her way back to her home station and computer where she can edit these things properly. So bright futures for everyone. Excellent stuff. So hop on over into
Absolutely.
our chat where Z will be sharing that special magical information that I forgot what it was you were mentioning you were going to share in there.
True. All right, now we're going to move into the final third of the show, which is the smattering of articles and tweets that are coming out, but are not nearly as important as the TA or the macroeconomic stuff. So to start off, we got a good article from Decrypt. It says, Wall Street is greedy, Tether co-founder, and they predict the next ETFs after Bitcoin and Ethereum. So if we scroll down, don't want to bury the lead on this one, but where to go?
What are we looking at?
The prediction is that we have Solana and Cardano as the next ETF.
Yes.
What's up?
No. This is just people again. This is Decrypt. This is not like official folks up in the like this is journalists speculating based on rumors they hear and people they know and things that they see. So again, for the folks at home, this is all campfire stories, much like everything that we talk about here on the DGen Roundtable. None of this is financial advice. This is just speculation, right? So the campfire story for this particular thing is I think that Solana and Cardano are likely to be selected as the next things that people are going to start striving towards getting ETFs for. So
correct. But the reason that I chose this article is because this is the point where the person that they interviewed actually kind of shows their reasoning about what's going on.
Yes.
So I'll give you some quotes. He said, Wall Street is greedy. Every time Wall Street packages a new product to sell to consumers, if that product is a success, you can guarantee there will be copycats. There would be no ETFs if the Bitcoin ETF had failed. This is pretty standard stuff, which is that the Bitcoin ETF was stupid profitable. Like the most profitable ETF launch in history. Therefore, why would they not want to do it again?
Bro, that's why we got Shrek 2, 3, and 4 is because Shrek 1 was so fucking fantastic. Like it's the same.
True.
It's the same fucking principle, guys. There's gonna be copycats to everything. The the Avengers series, the Shrek movies, the Fallout video game series, anything that's super duper successful. Somebody's gonna see that like, ooh, money grab. I'll make more of them, and then I can take retail's money away from him. And then there'll be many
but the
more
rest of the
people.
article. The rest of the article talks about when you stop seeing the copycats, which is that we will continue to see new ETFs launching until there's a big pullback. Then you'll see some of those ETFs shut down by the firms who launched them due to a lack of demand. So pretty much this guy's saying, we're going to keep seeing ETFs until they stop being profitable. They're going to milk this cow until it stops making milk.
Yep.
So.
Yep. When Shrek stops putting butts in seats in the theaters, that's when we stop making Shrek movies.
Correct. Yeah. Pretty much just reiterating it here, saying the Bitcoin ETF has paved the way for future crypto-related products, and the market has been keenly awaiting similar developments for such things. And we have the Ethereum stuff coming out soon once they get past the S1 registration forms that the SEC is holding up. But till then, they're kind of in Gary Gensler's hands.
Yep. And also reminder for everyone before we move on to smash that like button in the chat. You're talking about the ETF stuff, though?
Yeah. What do you think about the assessment, which is that people are just going to keep looking for more ETFs?
For real, man. I do think that they're just going to be popping them out like popcorn until they start going crazy. I don't know if I would throw Cardano up in that list. I would not be surprised at all to find Solana. And I like Cardano's probably a pretty good community and stuff. I just don't know if they have the what's the word, the zeitgeist support as many of the other coins and ecosystems have. I wouldn't be surprised if Phantom got an ETF in the near future. I would not be surprised. Or well, I don't know, maybe it'd be the Sonic ETF or something. But like Cardano's been around for a long time. What are some other? Oh, you're looking at the top 10s right now.
Yeah, I just have the entirety of the crypto space pulled up by market cap.
Binance.
Obviously,
yeah.
Well, so I don't think Binance is going to get an ETF. Binance has been very independent with what they do, and with everything going on, and especially CZ getting sentenced and actually heading to jail, I think that investors are probably not calling for a Binance ETF, and that's why we see the skip directly to Solana.
I would not be surprised to see a Binance one. Like it would not shock me. Your reasoning is solid, but I wouldn't be surprised to see it if they're just going to start popping them out like crazy. One thing about Binance is they were a pretty decent store of value over the last bear market, weren't they? They didn't drop as hard as everything else, if I remember correctly. Binance was one of the ones that held pretty strong. I think they only went down like 60 or 70%. I don't think they did a full like 80% drop. If my memory serves, which it might not. Um, and I think, and I've heard it explained that that's because they were taking basically like fee sales and using it to buy up the coin. Obviously, no expectation of result of no expectation of profits or anything, but I'm pretty sure that the Binance, like the exchange, was taking like fees and everything, and they were using it to buy the supply of the coin off the marketplace, similar to like a buy and burn, just a buy and hold from the company and stuff. But I would again, Binance, I think, I don't know if I'd say they're going to do it, but it would not shock me to find out that Binance is going to have an ETF. Although there's definitely something to your point there about them being independent.
For sure. I saw, oh shit, you're making me find it now, but I saw an article I was considering for the show, which was that Binance actually holds like, oh, here it is. Yeah, we got former Binance CEO CZ owns 64% of the BNB circulating supply.
Good.
Obviously, this is just the headlines, so we're going to have to go look at it. But
Yeah.
Forbes estimates that the dude's net worth is a staggering $61 billion. Congrats on being the 24th richest person in the world. But
Known richest person.
known
Public
richest, there you go.
person.
Yeah, the report also noted that according to a forensic analysis conducted by these folks, 80 million BNB tokens were allocated to the Binance founding team, and the company still controls 46 million of those original tokens. The report also noted that Binance and CZ jointly hold 71% of the 147 million BNB tokens in circulation. Zhao, CZ's 90% equity stake in Binance and the value of his crypto holdings have catapulted him to be the 24th richest individual on the planet with an estimation of $61 billion net worth. Again, this is paper net worth. He will never ever be able to get $61 billion worth of like cash out of that, because the moment you start selling stock, it all starts going downhill.
Well, think about like the De Beers company, the guys that own pretty much all of the diamonds in the world, right? Like not all of them, but they used to own 40% of all the diamond mines in the world. I think they currently own about 60%. If the De Beers Foundation or whatever started selling all the diamonds that they own and just started flooding the market with diamonds, they would never be able to extract all the value of like the theoretical worth that all the diamonds are. Same thing with the origin address for Hex. Like if they started selling all of the Hex, then they would never be able to extract the billions of dollars or the hundreds of millions that origin address is worth. Same thing with Vitalik and his holdings, or who's the Satoshi. I can't believe I forgot his name. Like if Satoshi started selling his million Bitcoin, right? Like he would never be able to extract the full value just because of the impact that it would have to the market. And then also like the sentiment change that would happen from like seeing the OG like diamond hands start capitulating. Like that has a crazy effect as well. So yeah, people that have crazy wealth, they generally can't extract the full value of the wealth out of their holdings. But it's cool to play with the fun. It's like the market cap numbers, it's all fake. We can't really pull it out if there's no liquidity for it and everything. But same thing with the people who own the stuff. But yeah, shout out to CZ for having a cool ass product.
Yeah, so I guess let's get final thoughts on the ETF stuff. I know we talked about ETFs probably way too much on this channel, but it's absolutely the dominant force or the dominant narrative for this current Bitcoin 4-year cycle.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, how much more juice do you think there is to squeeze out of the ETFs, or do you think we really only had room for a few of them?
Man, I will tell you, pretty much every one of my predictions has been dead wrong. So I'm going to say that the ETF's juice is totally squeezed out, and I hope that I'm fucking wrong. But I wouldn't be surprised to see more. But I don't know how many times they can whack this pinata before all the candy's fallen out.
I think the Ethereum ETF is going to be the last one really worth the squeeze.
Yeah.
What I mean is that it's going to be the last ETF that's going to be stupid profitable. It's possible for Solana to do that, but at the same time, I think that Bitcoin and Ethereum just have so much name recognition and just established value inside of them that if you know about Bitcoin, you know about Ethereum, and you know that those two are the big boys. And in my personal opinion, they are the ones that are the blue chips that are going to do that. They're going to last the test of time, or until something better comes around, or they stop innovating. I know people say that Bitcoin stopped innovating the day it was made, but there have been some upgrades on it with stuff like ordinals and upgrades to the network and correction to some of the hacks and whether all the other issues that it's had. It's been around the longest, so it's had issues. Understandable. Ethereum, we have the Ethereum Foundation. I think the Ethereum Foundation is the biggest Achilles heel for Ethereum currently, which is that everything moves at the speed that Vitalik pretty much says it does. So they were talking about doing the switch or the merge from Ethereum proof of work to Ethereum stake, and that lasted a long time until they finally did it, and then really didn't do much. And then on top of that, the Ethereum Foundation does hold a lot of Ethereum, and it's different from Bitcoin, which is that no one knows who Satoshi Nakamoto is, but everyone knows who Vitalik is, which means that you can point to a singular central figure and say, why is this person dumping on everyone else?
Exactly.
So that's like, I don't think there are tons of ways that Ethereum can fail, but there are some very specific ones that I just laid out. But outside of that, I think that when it comes to traditional finance, they're going to have more than enough when it comes to those two ETFs. And this is a theory that we're going to have to work with Tracker and Jeff on, because I think they were the ones, it might have been Dace as well. Those guys have really been trying to analyze the impact of traditional finance and how much they're able to affect or manipulate the price of crypto through their ETF holdings. Because I guess the TLDR right now, before we get the final theory out there, is that what those guys are seeing, they're telling me right now, is that they're seeing that the reason that we haven't gone past all-time highs again, and then it looks like price is actually starting to go lower and lower for each of the highs, is that the ETF holders are the ones that are manipulating the price to go downwards, whether it's through shorting the market or whether it's through any of the other future stuff. But the speculation from some of the team guys is that traditional finance is holding crypto down temporarily.
Mm-hmm. That's a that would also not surprise me a whole lot either. Now that we can short the price, I mean, people could have shorted Bitcoin, long before using other. Wait, no, they couldn't have. Could they have shorted? There's exchanges that allow you to short Bitcoin
on futures. Yeah, so futures is effectively. It is futures contracts. That is what you are trading. Some of them require you to pay to keep them open for a certain amount of time. Sometimes that cost is associated with the actual trades you make. But the point is that the way it's worked is we had futures trading before we had spot trading. The spot is where you actually trade the underlying asset or the paper version of it effectively. When it comes to the futures contracts, you can kind of imagine that as, well, it pretty much is just doing like shorts and longs, and then either you're selling the shorts or you're selling the longs, or you're buying the shorts and buying the longs. It is speculation on future price performance. That is where that's really made, as opposed to spot, where it's you hold the asset, you paid a certain amount for it, and you're hoping to sell it to someone else for more in the future, as opposed to the value of the thing that you hold is proportional to the change. The value of the thing you hold is the value of the thing you hold. 1 Bitcoin equals 1 Bitcoin.
Yep.
Hey,
we have a good question here from Centurion. Is that what you were about to pull up?
Yes, sir. Two great minds think alike. All right.
Goddamn right.
54 Cent, our boy, says, Zenith, you mentioned earlier about the risk to reward on buying as we get to those higher prices. What's your price or time range where you will stop DCAing? Personally, I'm not buying any more above a 60K. I assume you're talking about 60K Bitcoin. I would agree with you on Bitcoin. I have not bought any more Bitcoin for a hot minute, and I don't plan on buying any more. I plan on buying, again, I will say this much upfront. This is my personal opinion based on the strategy and the knowledge base that I've cultivated and built. I'm happy to talk about it with other people, but I'm not telling people to do what I'm doing unless you understand what I'm doing and you also hold the same convictions. Because if you did, you'd probably arrive at something similar. I think that Ethereum is a decent buy up to all-time highs. I think that there's a distinct possibility that we can see that within the next 3 months. If I eat those words sooner than that, I'm more than happy to do so, because then that means that a large chunk of my portfolio will be doing well and I can start focusing my efforts elsewhere. So Ethereum up to all-time highs for me. I expect that to happen in the 3 to 6 months before the end of the year for sure. And then pretty much 2025, I'll tell you this much. I don't plan on buying much during 2025 other than altcoins or some very risk-on assets. 2025, in my personal opinion, I think I'm going to be doing a lot of DCAing out. Specifically, we had our last top in November of 2021, which means that I anticipate for the 4-year cycle or the 3-year and 11-month cycle to conclude in early of October 2025, maybe late September 2025. So up until that point, that's what I'm looking to DCA out, and I have a myriad of indicators to identify the top and really sell the majority of the bag. One of which, Pi Cycle top indicator. Next up, we got the time-based one, that I just talked about, 4-year cycle, and then something I talked about earlier, which is the normie index, which is trying to analyze, okay, there's too many people singing too many praises who don't know enough about this asset. That is the time to get out, and they are the excellent liquidity. It doesn't come from a position of malice. I'm just saying I'm going to try to be determining when the music is about to go off on the dance floor so that I am not left out there in the light at 2 a.m.
Yep. Sweeping up the trash.
What do you think, Will? Is there a point where you will stop buying things and
Where I stopped buying Bitcoin? Oh, shoot, dog. Probably about 2 years ago. That's when I stopped buying Bitcoin. Like, truthfully.
Dude, I remember heeing and hawing about like 25K Bitcoin. We were like, oh man, it's up from 22. I'm so mad I didn't buy it.
Yep.
Is it gone? Is it too late now? And the answer is no. Just keep buying. Oh my God.
I used to be a Bitcoin maxi, and I am no longer a Bitcoin maxi. I will say that much. But as far as like other things, I don't know. As far as Richard Hart ecosystem coins, maybe like a 2 or a 3x up from here. I say that now, but again, like I was buying some Gifford up at the top, like back when that happened. So like I can't really say when I'll stop buying things. It's just like I'm gonna throw in money where I throw in money, and I think that all of the decisions that I make are going to be the wrong ones. I will say that much confidently. And I'm just gonna keep hoping that some of my wrong decisions turn out to be lucrative. So
True. Speaking of Richard Hart coins, I do have an answer for that as well, which is I personally am going to keep purchasing Richard Hart tokens up until the SEC court date, which is October 24th. I think until that date, there's going to be a large amount of suppression just due to the fact that this is really just this big, loud rain thundercloud that is just raining on the parade and scaring people away. Once that gets cleared up, and if Richard Hart has a dominant performance over the SEC, I don't think Richard is going to be in New York, but his team will be there. And if they absolutely school the SEC and possibly put the final nail in Gary Gensler's coffin, that could be a massive pump for the RH ecosystems like Pulse, PulseX, Hex, even eHex. Don't sleep on eHex. It's still a thing. And honestly, if you have faith in Vitalik that he will get those gas fees under control one day, a Quattro Cinco stake on eHex right now, you can get a lot of Hex in the future. Also assuming that they have those gas prices fixed, which by the way, Jay came in here and dropped some knowledge for us. He was saying, where is it? Oh, Jay.
Speaking of Hex, I almost forgot.
He said, well, on the Ethereum side, it costs 2/3 of the value of the stake just to end the stake. RIP.
Yep. Rest in peace, baby.
Yeah, but as far as the tweet that I pulled up, we got a tweet from Richard Hart himself, a.k.a. the man who follows no people on Twitter these days. But he's saying, the next exciting step in the SEC's lawsuit against the open source Hex, PulseChain, and PulseX publishing code, and is the SEC's response to the motion to dismiss. It's due in just a few weeks on July 8th. Then our response to their response is due a month after. Code is speech.
Yep.
So for reference, where we are at in the story now, I believe it was July 31st last summer, the SEC dropped the initial press release saying that we are suing Richard Hart for all the different things that they listed. Since then, Richard Hart pretty much went underground around the PulseChain launch, or even like 6 months prior to that. But Richard's been underground since then. We've only gotten updates through his team, and then he recently started tweeting towards the end of 2023. We saw the actual response from Richard Hart. I want to say it was April 1st. Was when his legal team put out their response to the initial claim. Now, the SEC is going to put their response to Richard Hart's response, July 8th, And then after that, they're going to have one final window for the team to respond back to the SEC before we go towards the final showdown in October. So
It's
that
like
is
the
what
world's longest AOL chat, bro. Like,
it really is. It's that
message.
it's
Get
the
back to me
email
in
chain
8
that's just been like 27 replies. It is that.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, so that's the timeline that we have for the Richard Hart stuff. In regards to Centurion's comment about when's the last time to purchase, I could definitely see that the SEC case, it's possible the SEC case gets cleared up sometime before then, as in like the SEC is just like too scared to take it up and they just let it go or something like that. But at the same time, Gary Gensler shows that he's not afraid to go to court for things, and losing is now part of his strategy, I guess. So it's very possible that the timeline holds up. Also, keep in mind, these are government dates that are proposed by the government for the government to the government, so they can change at any time. I know all of us are planning to go to New York City October 24th and go to the hearing and show up and show our support, and then also party all the days surrounding that event. But it is very possible that for some unknown reason, whether it's real or not, the date can absolutely be moved. It can absolutely be moved at any point for any reason effectively. Although they'll probably cite like a change in venue, or like, I don't know, the judge is sick or their daughter is a graduation. I don't know, whatever. That's the point. Speaking of Richard Hart stuff, I want to give a shout out to RG3, who I believe is I think he's in Amsterdam this weekend, actually. They had the Pulse Chain Tour. They're on their European section of it, and I think they're going on a cruise within the next month. Shout out to Hexy Bastard, who was presenting at it over there. And SJ is also traveling the world right now, doing all the cool stuff with them. So Pulse Chain Tour is still going on, and despite I had a chance to glimpse into some of the negativity that I hear about Hex and the Pulse Chain community. But on the other side of that, there's still a lot of good vibes and a lot of forward progress from the community. So that is the reason that I believe that there's still absolutely price potential to go when it comes to the Richard Hart stuff. Any thoughts on Pulse Chain Tour?
No, like, good for them for going over there, and I wish I could go on those cruises with them. That sounds like it'd be an absolute blast, but I gotta go fucking make some money, bro, so I can get some more of these DCAs in. I hope that they have the best times out there, sailing and touring the world and getting people together and meeting them. And I hope that that I could do my part in getting Hexicans to meet each other on a small scale as well. So anything that gets folks together and chit and chatting about cool things is okay by my book, and I look up to these guys and all the things they're doing. So big shout out to RG3, to a Wild SJ, to Black Hexican, and I suppose Hexy Bastard featured in this film, giving his little speech over there at Pulse Chain Tour over there in Europe. So hell yeah, guys, love to see it. Get after it.
True. Next up, we have shout out to a friend of the channel, Donovan Jolly, aka DIY Investing on YouTube. We had him on as a guest a few weeks ago. It was a fantastic show. I actually really liked that one. We had a great time talking with him about how he's had his journey. I think he said he's coming up on like 12 years for Bitcoin at this point. He's at least a 2-cycle guy, and I think he said he's on his 3rd cycle right now. But he is showing a progression of one of the narratives that we talked about the other week, which is that the politicization of the crypto topic is happening more this election cycle. So we have a speech from Donald Trump in West Palm Beach. I think this was the 14th. So I'm going to go ahead and full screen it, and we can listen in to what he has to say.
Well, I will end Joe Biden's war on crypto, and we will ensure that the future of crypto and the future of Bitcoin will be made in America. We're going to keep it right here, and a lot of it's going to be done right here in Florida, right?
There you go.
I'm glad to hear that, man, because there's been so much negativity from the United States, like governing agencies and bodies and regulatory overstepping and all the crap that's blown down from the SEC and all these different businesses that like moved out of America to start their crypto companies. Like even FTX, bro, even FTX left America to go and do their exchange. Like, shout out to Coinbase for having the balls to hang out in the US and do all this stuff. But like, man, there's been so many small businesses in the crypto sphere that have just been like, yo, I can't deal with the fact that like the SEC could swoop in at any moment and just ruin everything. And so they've been moving out, going to Dubai, going to Japan, going to Puerto Rico, going to Portugal, like, or Australia even. Like, fuck, man. the U.S. is supposed to be the leader in the technological space in the world, at least as far as I'm concerned. And we've just been slacking in this crypto innovation world. We were able to basically lead the world in the internet boom because we had Silicon Valley and because we had the tech industry and because we had all of that stuff, and we were literally the first movers. That's how like the U.S. gained dominance in the internet world. And it's just like in this decentralized finance zone, we are super duper slacking. So I'm glad to hear that at least there's being some, like, whether your feelings are positive or negative towards Donald J. Trump, the fact that this is being talked about and the fact that there is a like a beacon of hope for the cryptocurrency in the United States is something fantastic. And I hope that this inspires good old Jay Bizzle to reconsider his stance. And for like, I would like to see all politicians um, interested in bringing more economic energy and financial sector energy into the United States. So those are my thoughts on it, bro. What are your thoughts?
Yeah, this is yet another data point of Donald Trump really planting the flag on the crypto issue and actually trying to bring it up more and more in this cycle. One of the things that I noticed in the previous cycles is that cryptocurrency is kind of a hot topic issue on non-election years, which is that it's one of the ones that you can kind of bring up when you're looking for the smorgasbord of topics to keep the political news going. But as you get towards the election years, and especially the election cycles as they start to whittle down towards good old November, is that they really hone in on what are the key issues to voters. I think this year, if you look at it, you were specifically looking at border security and economics, which is illegal immigration and inflation. That's really it. And then whether foreign stuff is kind of there, but at the same time, domestic issues are much more. And the saying is, it's the economy, stupid, as the one issue that people try to gravitate towards the most.
I want to bring up a comment whenever you are finished with your train of thought.
Is it the one that I'm thinking of?
It's the one that just came up. By
yeah,
Mr.
let me finish this
Kirby
real quick and we'll
Lucario.
bring it up.
Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah. So, tell you what, I have another tweet real quick. So this is from MDB, came up on my feed. We have the old Dark Brandon meme at the bottom, but it says, yeah. Leaked emails show the Biden admin will be attending a Bitcoin roundtable in D.C. in July. If President Biden, 1, places a substantial amount of Bitcoin in a time lock for 100 years in the reserves, pardons Ross Ulbricht, bans CBDCs, protects mining and cold storage, legal tender or similar, before the election, I will personally consider going out there and voting for him. Would you? So this person is putting it out into the open and be like, look, they are a crypto issue voter, and these are the things that they're looking for. And they're trying to gauge the interest on what would it take for you to vote for Biden in November. So again, it just is trying to continue the narrative of like, it's possible that the actual elected officials are picking sides and going to try to make it a big issue. But till we see actually more definitive statements from the Biden administration, it's really the Trump camp that is the one that's really throwing down the gauntlet on this one. And then Biden is just trying to do things in the sidelines.
I'm fairly certain that Trump was taking a lot of advice from Ramaswamy as well. Ramaswamy is super big into Bitcoin and stuff. So after, I don't know what will happen with their debates or anything, but more power to him if that's the case. And again, just like any political issue, I would like to see both sides take strong stances in favor of things that I think are cool and awesome. You know, there's like bipartisan support for excellent things. You know, like when there was bipartisan support in the House a little bit ago, passing the it wasn't the Fit 21 or the Fab 21 or the whatever the hell it was thing, where like it went through the House with crazy high numbers on both sides before going over to the Senate, and then man, it was either Fab or Fit 21 or Sit 21 or something of that nature. Doesn't matter what it was, but I'd love to see bipartisan support on things that are cool and things that are awesome, and things that like bring up American economic strength. I don't know how anyone could argue against those, but you know, again, like I'm only thinking of things from one side here.
True. All right, let's tackle this.
Okay. So my thoughts on this for Mr. Kirby Lucario, who says that Hex has ruined many lives. It's down 99%. I will say, good sir, that there are many things in life that ruin lives, and it's not the tool; it's how you use it. Fire can burn down your house, and it can also cook your food. If you buy Hex when it's low and you sell when it's high, then you make money. If you buy Hex when it's high and you sell when it's low, then you've lost money. You should not blame the tool for your misuse. Or, well, no, I'm not calling you out, Mr. Kirby Lucario. I'm saying that people who have ruined their own lives by investing in these things need to understand that they have the sovereignty and they have the responsibility, they have the authority and the accountability for all of their own actions, irrespective of the things that they're buying. That's my 2 cents on that, Mr. Zenith. What do you got? And I will agree, it is down 99%. You're 100%
Absolutely.
correct.
Like, I pulled up chart. By the way, this is the eHex chart.
Yep.
So we have the full Hex history here. Are you correct that it's down 99%? Yeah, for sure. Are
100%.
you correct that it's possibly ruined lives? Yeah, sure. At the same time, though, is this something that is unique to Hex? I would argue no. You are correct in your points. However, it might require a little more context, which is that crypto as a whole is a very volatile asset. No one has lied to anybody about this. If you're in this space, you should know this. And if anyone is telling you that it's not, they're lying to you or they're trying to sell you something. The reason crypto pumps and dumps like 100x and 99% pretty routinely. Granted, if you look at things like Bitcoin and Ethereum, those are starting to get to that diminishing returns and diminishing drops. Because I think that the last cycle we had Bitcoin drop, I think it was 78%. I'm going to have to go check my math at some point. But the cycle before that, it was like 85%. And the cycle before that, it was 89%. It's like there are clear and established patterns. If you make bad plays, yes, that's just a bad financial move. You can do it with anything. Like theoretically, you could do it with the S&P 500.
If you throw your money down a drain, then it will ruin your life. That is correct.
Correct. At the same time, though, is crypto a space that it uniquely has the ability to wreck people? Unfortunately,
100%.
Yes. However, At the same
Absolutely.
time, there's the flip side of the coin, which is that it also has the unique ability to absolutely transform lives the other direction as well.
Mm-hmm. Yep. Shout out to Mr. Angry Twinkie right beneath Mr. Kirby, saying no one is forcing you to use Hex. And then also after that, he said it has changed a lot of people's lives for the positive contingent upon timing. So again, Hex has not ruined people's lives. Hex is a tool, just like hammers have not ruined people's lives. Hammers are tools. When people bash each other's heads in with other hammers, then people are ruining other people's lives. When you use a hammer to build a house, they're like when you use a thing the way that it's supposed to be used, or not even that. It's the people themselves that are ruining their lives. It's not the item, right? You don't blame inanimate things for for the positives and the negatives that happen in your life. You blame yourself. Now you might not know stuff. You might have been bamboozled. You might have been tricked into something, right? But like the only one that's going to change your life is you. And this goes for everybody, for the folks at home. The only one that's going to have any effect on your life is you. You're it, right? They're like nobody else is going to. People might temporarily come into your lives and give a shit about you for a short period of time, but realistically, the only thing that will effectively change your existence is the actions that you take. Blaming your problems on drunk drivers, blaming your problems on school shooters, blaming your problems on cryptocurrencies that come and they go and do all sorts of things. It's not going to get you anywhere, right? It's people. It's not even people. It's your own decisions that get you where you're at in life, and your ability to manipulate the circumstances around you. Are you going to make decisions all the time? No. Are you going to make bad decisions? Or like you're going to make good and bad decisions all the time, and you have to own like what we were reading in Extreme Ownership, right? Extreme Ownership by John. You have to own every single part of your life because no one else is going to fucking do it for you. So while you might I'm not going to try and read too much into your statement. You made two statements. You said Hex has ruined many lives. It's down 99%. You're right on 50% of your statement. You're incorrect about the fact that Hex has ruined lives. It's people that have ruined their lives interacting with Hex. And if they interact with it poorly, then they have a bad time. If they interact with it correctly, then they have a good time. It's all about how you use the tool. And yes, it is down 99%, which is generally a fun time to buy for some people. So for the folks at home, this is not financial advice, but if you see a diamond sitting on the road for pennies, then it just depends on what you value in life and what you don't value. Some people, like if I had a cup of water with me right now, I wouldn't value it anywhere near as much as a person who is like starving out in the desert would value a cup of water. People value things differently, and people buy things and sell things for different reasons. We've got Cassie Kelly with a comment right here. This has been said more times than I can count. Only invest what you can afford to lose. As tragic as it is, if you invest enough that losing it ruins your life, then that is a decision that you made. And Miss Cassie Kelly is absolutely right in that respect. Everything, like everyone owns all of their decisions and everything. And also shout out to Funk Master Hex. I see Funk Master Hex. I see in the chats. Ladies and gentlemen, good evening. Good evening to you too, Mr. Funk Master Hex. Always replying with a drink. We love you, brother. Excellent, excellent. Mr. Zenith. You're looking at the time,
Yes, I'm looking at the time, and I have, oh God, I'm slightly dying. But I have some rapid fire articles I just want to at least highlight, just to give people a good chuckle. I know that we got a little heavy on this one, but I know we have I personally have a tendency to get on soapboxes, and I will say I didn't get on the soapbox about a wealth tax and why it's stupid when talking about CZ and having a high net worth and the inability to sell assets. So you can find that rant on many other episodes, I guarantee you that. But to start off our rapid fire articles, I got this one. So again, from Decrypt, they track things going on Twitter, so I don't have to. Thank you, Decrypt. Saying this week on crypto Twitter, Iggy Azalea and Andrew Tate are in dueling meme coin battles. I guess Andrew Tate made a coin called...
No, he did not make it. He endorsed it. It was already made.
There you go. He endorsed a coin called Daddy. And then conversely, Iggy Azalea made a coin called Mother.
Yes. Yep.
And then at the bottom...
was funny.
For true. And at the bottom, we also have another little tidbit, which is that the rapper known as Lil Pump got Solana tattooed on his forehead.
Yep. So if these aren't topping signals, ladies and gentlemen, I'd be curious to see what are the next topping signals. So this is a good
speaking
time.
of which, the next topping signal, would you pay 40K in Solana to go on a date with a Playboy Playmate? Only one is a crypto-fueled OnlyFans alternative on Solana. You thought the meme coins were degenerate? You ain't seen nothing yet.
Yep. This is pretty cool though. I like this. I like this and where it's going because like a big problem with OnlyFans is that you're using a third-party system as a payment platform. And like I don't endorse OnlyFans and I don't condone OnlyFans, or what's the opposite of I neither condemn nor condone OnlyFans, but I do like seeing things that decentralized people to be able to interact with each other and not have to use some third-party middleman to take their stuff away from them when there's an alternative. So this shit's fucking funny. 250 Solana coins to go on a date with Mrs. Playmate, and I think that it ended up selling for quite a bit over the limit or something like that. So it's like 40 grand to go on a date with this bitch. And it's basically just like, hey, fucking people who got money, they can spend their money on what they want. And like while I will judge you internally, I will say that people are free to make as much money and spend as much money on whatever things that they please. And I find this to be incredibly amusing. So this is a very good article. And man, by God, if these aren't top signals, then I don't know what is. And I really hope it's not the fucking top, because that'd be super boring and lame.
Yeah, I hope it's not. All right, up next we have the Tang Gang strikes again. Apparently they went on Dex Screener and paid to make changes or something, but they have pretty much changed Pulse Change to Pulp Change, as in like orange juice pulp.
Oh
and they
my
also
God.
linked themselves somehow. Yeah, Pulp
them.
Chain sets a new standard for blockchain technology. Join Pulp Chain today. Yeah, let's see. This is Brags to Riches, our good friend Brandon, and also one of the winners of the the Minect contest that they had.
Shout out to Brandon for doing so great on that. Bro.
And
good shit, dude.
Gary Woods.
Love to see it. Yes, and Gary Woods. Yeah, Gary leading the charge on getting everyone like good public awareness for this Minect thing going on. And then shout out to Brandon for being way up there in the top. I do believe that the two of them went over, and I believe Mr. IMB Roots went, and they all got to hang out nearby Donald Trump and go hang out with the team over there at Valuetainment. So good for you guys. Glad to hear it. Love to see what you're doing. This is hilarious though, bro. Fucking Tang Gang, man.
There's
Fucking
been
tanking.
a multitude of reactions to it. I think Brandon is trying to give the very neutral, here's the news, form your own opinion on it. And then I've seen other people also have very different opinions. So I think here's Almighty. He said, this is disgusting. We need to save the chain. Tanking on your scammers because they updated the decks, right? When I allegedly updated TNT, I was a scammer, right? But now the group of broke losers is trying to interrupt the integrity of the blockchain. That's what Almighty's take on the pulp change thing is. So
I think that
I don't really
I think that all news is good news. That's my this brings attention, and like the drama aside, this stuff is fun. This is hilarious. This is great, Mr. Angry Twinkie. Them's fighting words. I'm not sure what are the fighting words, but them's fighting words. And like Almighty, like good for you for expressing your opinion, bro, and giving this even more attention and energy. For the folks that don't know, our good friend Richard Hart once described this very interesting thing called a risk diode, wherein if you don't want people to think about a thing, then you don't talk about it. And so by Almighty tweeting about in response to the Tang Gang doing this thing, he is now giving it more energy and more power. And in so doing, he brings more attention to Pulse Chain, and he brings all of his followers into like focusing on the Tang Gang. So like shout out to everyone involved in this process. I think this is all awesome and amazing, and there's no way that you can convince me otherwise. This is great.
Fair
What are
enough.
your thoughts, Zenith?
I have no direct opinion on this one. I think that the idea of there's no such thing as bad press. There's only just press. I get that, but at the same time, if you're trying to build a community and also pitch it to other people, it's possible that this could scare some people away. And I know that the Tang Gang has rubbed a lot of people the wrong way, but they've never wronged me. Although they're the people that I've become friends with, they are some of those people that I've been rubbed the wrong way by it. So
here's the
I'll
thing:
let them
is
fight
like
their own
we can
fight,
have,
but I have no dog in this fight.
Yeah, dude, we could totally have friends that are nipping and dogging at each other, and it's like, oh, look at you guys go. Oh, that's cute. How fun. I'm still friends with both of you. Y'all, I hope y'all kiss and make up at some point, or you don't. And I get the popcorn. Don't involve me in your drama or your bullshit or whatever. But this is fun and crazy and excellent. I don't think that there's any bad press, and I will cite OJ Simpson for that.
True. To bring it a little back the positive direction, shout out to Rags to Riches again. He's trying to build the Rags to Riches network, and if you are a podcast producer and you're looking for a little bit of employment, definitely reach out to him. This is a post that he has on his Twitter or X, and he's showing some responsibilities, qualifications, and stuff. So if you want to apply, send a resume and a cover letter to rags2richessquad@gmail.com. Help build, because we need people to help build.
Excellent.
And then I have one last thing. This might be a bit of a soapbox moment for me, but I saw this tweet from a person called Alex. She said, hey, Pulse Chain, would you be mad at me if I go to Solana for a while, then bring them back into Pulse? And then we had our good friend, Fashion Coder, who said, speaking from personal experience, they will light you on fire if you do this.
I will say, if you want to leave and go somewhere else, great. If you want to stay, great. It's all great. Like if you're looking to get the opinions of other people on the internet before you go and undertake actions, I also think that's great. I also think that people who are like, hey, I'm going to do things because those are the things that I'm going to do, I think that that's great as well. I think it's all great news, bro. That's me. But Fashion Coder does have a good point here that like we are a very loyal community here in the Pulse chain.
There's a difference between loyal and being tribalist, though. And I think sometimes the tribalism comes out, especially in crypto. And this is a reminder that the Pulse chain community is no exception. However, in my personal opinion, I think that getting other people is a good thing. I know RG3 is a big fan of saying that we don't need the other crypto people because they already hate us and then we got to find new people. I wholeheartedly agree with that statement. However, at the same time, more people is more people. Doesn't really matter where they come from. And if people are doing good efforts and not trying to sacrifice something, then people like Alex and Fashion Coder, I actually tip my hat and I say, you're doing good work. Keep working hard.
Zealotry. Twiggy is absolutely right, man. It's zealotry. And I'm fine with the audience having their zealotry because it's important, and I'm also fine with the apostates going and trying to get conversions in other communities and things. So like, this is all excellent. This is all good news. I think it's interesting. So one thing that I also find is when people pose a question on Twitter that's like, "Hey, should I do this thing?" and I'm going to seek your approval. Part of it's engagement bait. So that's their like, and they won. They've got us here talking about it right now. So shout out to you, Alex. Alexandra H888 on the 14th of June. Shout out to you for getting us to talk about your thing. But yeah, absolutely. Go leave the community and go find some other people and bring them back. Do what you got to do. I think this is all excellent and outstanding.
And then I have, tell you what, we'll actually call it there.
Okay.
I will give a special shout out to a good buddy of ours, Crypto Coffee. He's been covering some of the Fit 121 stuff. So if you remember, there was SAB 121, which got vetoed, and Fit 121, which is the more sweeping bill that is still going through. Yeah, it's going through the Senate right now, if I read it correctly. But he did a
that
bit
was
of
the one with crazy bipartisan support. Yeah.
Yeah, well, he's been deep diving on it a bit and really killing it at the shorts game. So he has a few shorts here talking about Fit 121 and deep diving. And one of the interesting things is he points out that there is no differentiation between centralized exchanges and decentralized exchanges. So that might be one thing that we need to get clarification on before.
In the bill?
Yeah, in the bill. But again, shout out to Crypto Coffee. He's been absolutely killing it lately with the shorts game. I see his shorts come up all the time, and they are fantastic. I think it's exactly what you need.
Excellent. All right. Oh, it's time to wrap up, broski.
Yes, sir. It's time to wrap up. Take it away.
Where? Okay. I was about to say where can the folks find you, but I'll go first. You guys can find me at will.pls.fyi. I suppose if I was a reasonable, rational adult, I would have had that pulled up already to drop into the chats. But since we are like 7 seconds ahead of you guys, I can just copy and paste it right now and drop it on into the chat. And there it is, bazinga. Will.pls.fyi. You can find all of my socials off of that pulse domain right there. If you guys want a Brothers Two of Them cookbook, which I don't have any handy right now, but if you guys want a Brothers Two of Them cookbook, my brother and I made cookbooks about our wacky adventures, being tower climbers, traveling through the states, making super duper simple meals and things of that nature. Then just hit me up on any one of these social medias that you find as linked from will.pls.fyi. As for what I'm doing in the near future, I'm going to be traveling over to Indiana, over by Fort Wayne. So if you guys are in between New Hampshire and Indiana, then I'll be going through your neck of the woods. And so I'll make sure to post up some of my stops and things in the meeting hexagons. And thank you, my fantastic and helpful assistant has just given me a Tower Climbers cookbook. So this is where you guys can, this is an example of the Tower Climbers cookbook. You guys can find it. Actually, you can't find it because there's only 50 copies and I've only got, shoot, I don't even know how many copies I have left. Sam has half and I have half. But if you guys want a copy of these limited edition Tower Climbers cookbooks, then hit me up on any of the socials that you can find on will.pls.fyi. Other than that, I think that you guys should join the DRT community. Hop on into our chats. The t.me for that is, or excuse me, the link for that is t.me/DRT join now. I'm copying the link and I'm pasting that on into the chat. We will have a new QR code up for you guys here in the very near future. And Zenith, I'm going to go ahead and pass it to you, bro. Where can the folks find you and what you got going on in the near future, my friend? Oh, wait.
Folks, you go for it.
I have a Hex Meetup chat that I totally haven't shilled in a very long time. It's called Meeting Hexagons. All right. So if you guys are a hexagon and you want to meet other hexagons, then what you need to do is you need to go to bit.ly/hex_meetup. And man, I'm trying to type that right now while talking, but bit.ly/hex_meetup. And that will take you to the introduction page to my Hex Meetup chat, where it will tell you how to go around and meet other hexagons using this Telegram group. It's basically just a list of locations all within like different parts of the world, like whether it be like Australia or whether it's London or whether it's Connecticut or whether it's whatever the hell. You hop on in there and you check the chats and you see where people are talking about meeting up and doing things. And if you're going to be doing a cool thing, like say you happen to be in Seattle or something and you're like, I feel like going out to the bar this weekend. Hey, if there's any other hexagons out here, I'm going to this bar at this time. Cool beans. If you guys want to meet me, excellent. If you don't want to meet me, excellent. I'm going to get plastered and wasted and go eat some salmon either way, and it's going to be a good time. So if you're a hexagon and you want to meet other hexagons, then click on the link that I've put in the live chat right now, bit.ly/hex_meetup. It's also written here right underneath my name, bit.ly/hex_meetup. I am currently in New Hampshire and going to Indiana. So now, Mr. Zenith, what have you got going on in the near future, and where can the folks find you?
Yeah, you can find me on Twitter and Instagram at ZenithDI. I've been trying to use Twitter more and more. I like to jokingly say that me not knowing how to use Twitter is a feature, not a bug. But every once in a while, you do find some interesting news or tidbits out there to highlight. So if you find any of those and you want to have it featured on the show, tag me in it, DM me, tell me about it, put it in our Telegram and tag me there. Whatever it takes, I will take it all into consideration and then try to bring you guys the cream of the crop, so to speak. But other than that, yeah, we just got the usual schedule going on. On Wednesday, we don't have an official guest lined up just yet, but I'm trying to finalize some details. It might be at a slightly different time, but right now we're just going to plan on 8 p.m. Eastern time. And then other than that, we have Friday. We have the book club coming up. This week, we're going to be covering The One Thing. That is the name of the book, The One Thing. And all my books are falling now.
The One
Yes,
Thing.
I have not read it yet, but I am working on it myself. So that is also going to be the 8 p.m. Eastern time on Friday. And then after that, same time next week, baby. This is what we do every week. This is the flagship show. This is where we try to bring you the best and most impactful crypto news out there so that you can make the decisions that you need to make and also just raise the education. Because at the end of the day, the reason that we're out here doing this is that we're trying to become the best investors we can. And it's one of those things that first you learn it, then you do it, then you teach it. So now we're out here trying to teach it and trying to get more people in there and do the opposite of what that one guy said in the Hex comment, which is that we want Hex to build lives, not ruin lives, or just crypto in general. We're not gonna shill you shit coins or anything. We're gonna try to help people make good financial decisions, but at the same time, this is the place where you can hit that home run that's worth 1,000 points. So that is what I got going on and what you can expect from us in the near future. Other than that, this has been an excellent show. Mr. Will Stevenson, thank you so much for joining me, and thank you everyone out there for joining us as well. We appreciate each and every one of you guys. Y'all are awesome, and we know that time is your most valuable asset, so we thank you for spending it with us each and every time. So until we catch you guys on Wednesday or in the Telegram, we hope that everyone degens responsibly.